everybody. It is day 3, and we are here. Wow. First, I want to thank you so much for making this the largest AI event in history with over 650,000 people registered. On day 1, you made a commitment to show up, to play full out, and you've done exactly that. You followed through on your word. So give yourself a nice pat on the back, okay? We all deserve it. And as with all things in life, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So today, let's finish strong, yes? If you are in for finishing strong, put "I'm all in" the chat. I'm all in. Yes. You guys have been so great using this chat. Keep it going. And how about our speakers yesterday? Whoa. I was blown away. I took so many notes in my notebook. We heard from the AI surfer who showed us that AI is an identity shift, moving away from the things we don't want to do, like taxes, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do taxes. With more freedom to spend time on the things that we love to do, like surfing or dancing. And then we heard from Lior Weinstein, who gave us a vision for how the evolution from clone to agent can be a total game changer, from planning family adventures to optimizing your workday. Then there was the opportunity to join the all-new AI Advantage Bootcamp. If you did, can we take a moment right now to congratulate everyone who took massive action yesterday and enrolled in the AI Advantage Bootcamp? Yes. That's right. That's right, Renee. We have the same name. Oh, yeah. This group is on track, listen to this, to collectively save almost 3 million hours. And listen up, yeah? But listen to this. Our goal is 4 million, and I know that we can get there today. Today is the day. And then we heard from the amazing Arthur Brooks, who taught us to manage AI so it doesn't manage us. That way we can harness the power of AI to be our happiest selves and to live our best lives. And the best part? We're not done yet. We're not even close. We have got a jam-packed day ahead that's going to get even more tactical and strategic. By now, you can see it clearly, okay? AI isn't optional anymore. It's essential. It's the new skill set that will define who stays ahead. And I want to ask you something very important. So take a moment, listen, and I want you to write this down. What will you decide to implement today so these 3 days don't go to waste? Write it in the chat right now so we can hold each other accountable. Write it in the chat and then write it down in your notebooks. Take a moment. Start on my clone. Building my Claude for me. Wow. Yes. You guys, amazing. All social media posting, building my agent. Building Claude, an agent, yes. Using AI as a business partner. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for showing up so fully. Wow, this chat is blowing up. And if you already know that you want support with your next step, we would love, 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 love to serve you. Remember this, the time is now. Like Dean showed yesterday with that chart, the early adoption phase is over. We are standing right at the edge of mass adoption. And that's what the AI Advantage really means. It is the difference between being ahead of the curve or left behind it. So don't let anything hold you back. All right, a few quick reminders as we head into this final day together. First, be present. Close those extra tabs, silence the notifications. This is your time, and this is our last day together, so let's make it count. Second, keep lighting up that chat. I don't even have to tell you because you're already doing it. But keep sharing those breakthroughs, your aha moments, because what you share might be exactly what someone else needs today. And lastly, remember, we are live, baby. So yes, Maddie, room 2. Keep those cameras on. Keep your energy high and engage with the speakers because trust me, we feed off of your energy. All right, my friends, what do you say we finish strong today with the energy We're going to crank some music right now, and I want to see you lit up for day 3. Here we go. Come on, let's get that music going. Yes. Jennifer, room 8. Sean, room 6. Oh, yes. Antonella, room 2. Elizabeth, room 9. This is what I'm talking about. Day 3 energy. Hi, Catherine, room 2. Beautiful. Olivia, room 8. Okay, my beautiful friends, help me to welcome back to the stage the one and only Dean Graziosi.
Go. Good morning, good morning. Good morning and welcome everybody to day 3. Look at all these beautiful comments. Thanks, guys. Hey, could you turn the air down one day? You know we're live. I'm so fired up. I'm feeling warm. I want it nice and cold in here. And I want to say, hey, everybody. What's up, Antonella? It was great talking to you yesterday. What's up, Maddie Lamb and Diane and Robert? What's up, Bill, Nicole, Glenneth? What's happening, Kenneth? I get to see so many else. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you. What's going up, Sean Kirk and Carrie Warner? Listen, I got to say, I've been doing events for 30 years. And there is an energy, there is this feeling. What you guys give back with your smiles, what you get back in the YouTube channel, what you get back in the Zoom chat, it really does affect us. And I have to say, I went home last night so fulfilled. Again, I stayed up way too late reading your comments. The community was on fire, the breakthroughs, oh my God, the aha moments, people already taking incredible action. I love it. Again, you could never imagine how much work it takes to pull off 600,000 plus people registered, all live, all at the same time. There's a whole team back there making me look really good, right? And when you guys play full out and you take action and do the work, it's the best payback in the world. So let's just recap. I know Renee did quick, but day 1 was really the foundation. Time is everything. Right? And we had some great stuff. I won't repeat what Renee said. Day 2, we turned time into results, showing how you get real leverage from clone, evolving it to work for you, right? Today is where it all comes together. I want to share this through my words. You know, after November, the messages didn't stop. Months later, people were still reaching out saying this changed everything. Those of you that are here from last November, thank you for all the beautiful comments yesterday. And at the same time, AI kept accelerating faster than anyone predicted. That's why we're here. And that's why this day, day 3, is so important. You can't miss a second of it. And I'm more fired up than ever. This is going to be such an incredible day because today is about scaling. And here's the truth. Really listen to this one. Your ability to scale is directly tied to your ability to simplify. Think about that. You can't scale complexity. You can't scale confusion, right? If you're confused, can you go higher? No. If it's complex, can you go? No. Scale isn't just louder marketing or more chaos. Scale, hear this one, is the invisible work. It's the operations. I know that might sound like a big word, but it's the systems that make your business and your life or your career actually flow. And with AI, especially with automations and agents, the things you're learning, the systems become faster, they become lighter, and even more human. That means what? Everything we've been talking about, right? I don't want to beat it up, but more time for doing the work that only you can do. I kind of look at like a system is like if it was a straight line of something you did, right? In business, they called it an SOP, a standing operating procedure. It could be just a sequence. It could be a process. There's a million names. But if you think about you have a process to do something you've been doing for a long time, and it's like, oh, this is the human part. Oh, AI can do this. Boop, done. Oh, this is the human part. Okay, AI can do this. Boop, done. And all of a sudden, something that might take hours could take minutes. Something that could take weeks takes days. And that's what we're going to share today is how to really compound that. Who's ready up? Who's ready to learn how to scale this, right? Okay, but before we get into the day, I do have to share some of the posts in the community last night. You guys playing so full out, I think it deserves a few. So could you pull these up? And if you see me squint, it's really small on the screen and hard to read. But Nikki Anna said, oh my God, the whole thing was so impactful. But the one thing that got me and made me actually cry was when you described the amazing nighttime ritual at the dinner table. I'm old-fashioned that way too. Thank you, Nikiana. That is something we did it last night, right? Literally, and if you guys play with that one, use a whole bunch of variety. Ask it to do in different voices. It is so freaking cool. Joshua said, my biggest breakthrough today is realizing that AI isn't the goal. My life is. I have to tell you, last night, I could get emotional reading these now. I read so many quotes last night. AI is just the tool that handles the things I get to do and spend time on the things that actually matter to me. Vanara, I hope I said that right. Wow, every speaker on stage reminded me that this isn't just about AI. It's about becoming more human through it. Now, I told you that on day one, and probably some of you are like, well, how does this... Do you see how it all ties together now? Do you see how why we obsess so much on the event the way we planned it? Because if you attach it to the human side of you, then there's no way that you don't do it. Christy H. said, truth time. Day 2 lit a fire under me. Everything is becoming clearer for me and the direction I need to take my fishing and tackle business. Since we started this summit, I've been consistently using AI as an assistant, and it's helping me evolve into my best self. I love it, Christy. Thank you. Keep posting these, guys. This inspires everybody else. Who feels inspired reading these, right? I'll read a couple more. There's thousands of these, right? Key takeaway from today. Everyone is talking about AI tools, but no one's talking about the real shift. The biggest takeaway today, AI isn't just a tool. It becomes your thought partner and then your action partner. The AI surfers model hit me the biggest, the 90-10. So powerful. One more, Anne Marie Bertel. The deepest takeaway from the summit so far over these past 2 days is that AI is not becoming more, that AI is becoming more powerful. Its humanity is being asked to become more powerful with it. So good. Let's give it up for everybody who posted. Oh my God, there's so many more. I could keep going, but really just want to say thanks for posting. As Renee said, you have no idea who read your post and said, okay, I'm going to do it this time because Celine did it, or Gavin did it, or Carmen did it, or Stacy did it. That's social proof. Just the part of saying, yeah, I'm in. I'm not going to waste any time. Listen, I literally read hundreds and hundreds of your posts and comments last night, and I got to be honest with you, 2 things hit me at the same time. It's the reason I got up. I took a picture of myself, I think at 4:05 this morning, and switched what I'm teaching you this morning. Because I read so many comments and I want to meet everybody where they are. And the first hit my heart. And it's such a cool way, just like the ones you read. To see people have a breakthrough, this is what we do for a living. I'm working today. We get to show people a faster path. It's the coolest thing in the world. I watch people talk about being more empowered, more alive, inspired. I heard someone say, I'm finally awake. I mean, that is freaking cool. And so many of you are already taking action, like you just saw. Some are building killer graphics, creating business content, creating business plans to start the business, bedtime stories, to making plans for vacation and everything in between. It's so freaking awesome. But the second voice I noticed, and it was just as real, and I could feel it between the lines, the hesitation, the voice that says, what if I can't keep up with this? What if I'm too old? What if I'm not sure? That worry the worry that you'll leave this event fired up, excited, and then life kicks back in and momentum fades. Anybody feel that, if you're being real honest? Because I read a lot of those last night. Now, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I could tell you that voice, that subtle little whisper, is the reason most people don't change or don't reach their goals. Not because they're not educated good enough, not because they're not super intelligent and hard workers, not because they weren't given the right tools, but the reason for doing it wasn't deep enough to survive, and this is the word, resistance. Put resistance in the chat if you've ever had resistance make you miss an opportunity. Stop you from leaning into the best version of yourself. Stop you from launch. I said, thank you, Jeff. Stop you from starting the business. Stop you from doing your own thing. Resistance is this invisible force. And I want to take a few minutes this morning, because resistance is real, especially when it comes to new technology. Thank you. I see it all coming in, right, on YouTube and on Zoom. So before the next level AI training that's coming up soon, I can't wait for your first speaker. I want to share one last tool in my toolbox that I've been using for 2 decades. It's hands down the most influential tool. Yesterday I showed you my goal planning, greatest goal planning that I've ever figured out. This one changed my life more than anything else. It'll take us a few minutes because yesterday you talked about your goals and why. But there's another level most people don't get, a level where your purpose is so deep, so locked into your heart that imposter syndrome or disbelief or resistance can't touch it. It can't touch you because when you're this deep, age can't stop you, confusion can't stop you, technology won't stop you. Nothing stands in the way against a purpose that lives in your soul, not in your head. Hear me on that one. A purpose so deep that it lives in your soul, not in your head. Now, I've been doing this for years. I usually take a half hour. I'm going to do this in just minutes. It's something I learned from a gentleman named Joe Stump about 20 years ago. It's called the 7 Levels Deep. And we're going to do this in 5 minutes. Who's up to do it in 5 minutes? And then we'll get to some AI education. And by now, listen, I'm over-explaining it for the 2% or like, hey, I need these tools this morning. Do you guys by now, do you feel that we have an idea on how to get you so motivated that you actually break through and do it? That this is a process? We could have done this in one day and taught you just straight tools and you would have been overwhelmed and gone right back to where you were. Who's feeling more confident, more aligned and going, I'm doing this no matter what? Right? That's our whole goal. And I hope it lands with all of you. So grab a pen if you don't have one. And let me just give you a little context. For those that know, a part of my family, you know this, but I still do it literally on a monthly basis. About 20 years ago, I hired a guy named Joe Stump to help me get more results for my students in this type of business, our self-education business, helping people go faster. He was an expert. Came to my house, we sat outside at a table, had some of my team members, and he immediately said to me, Dean, if you want more results for your students, you got to go upstream and anchor in a purpose so deep nothing can stop them. I'm like, cool, give it to me. He said, it's called the 7 Levels Deep. I'm like, great, give me the tool. I want to give it to my team. And I'm going to be really transparent with you. He's like, no, I got to go through it with you. I'm like, come on. I paid him a good amount of money to be there for the day for consulting. I'm like, no, just give it to me. He said, no, that's not the way I work. I got to put you through it. I'm like, okay. So he said, Dean, why would you hire me? I think I paid him $10,000 at the time. Actually, we ended up bartering. I consulted for him. He consulted for me eventually. But it was a lot of money. I'll just put it that way. He goes, why would you pay me to come get more results for your students? And I remember thinking something in my head like, hey, I want our students to get more results and I want to step up this industry. I want people in this industry to really care or get out. And he's like, oh, that's great. Love that. So hence the whole 7 levels. Ask 7 times about the previous why. So he said to me, why do you want more results for your students and step up this industry? And I answered from my head again. I said, I want to leave a legacy. I want my kids to be proud of me someday. Sounded pretty good. He's like, that's great, Dean. Now, I don't even know what I said the next couple of times. But when you keep asking, and I'm going to encourage you all to do this, when time allows, it will shift your life. You will feel it. There's a moment when you keep asking 7 times, not 5, not 9, 7 times. When you keep asking, when you get to around the 5th time, I've done it with thousands of people through the years. I watch, you can feel your physiology change. It goes from your head, that you get goosebumps, the hair stands up, maybe tears in your eyes, and there's a certain time you go deep enough and it shifts. I'm thinking about it and the hair standing up in my arms, because here's what I remember. When he got to about the 5th question, he said, well, why is that important to you? And something came out of my mouth I never said before. I said, I don't want to go backwards. All of a sudden, I had a flood of emotions of thinking of my mom working 3 jobs, dropping me off in a car that had the back window busted out with plastic on it, and we left our trailer park, and I used to make her drop me off down the street from my school so the kids wouldn't make fun of me. I don't know why I'm emotional today, but I remember feeling that. And I'm like, and I'm sitting around a table with a guy I just met and my team, and I'm starting to feel emotional. I'm like, all right, let me just get to this. So he said, Dean, thanks for being vulnerable. And then I said to myself, I know my why. And he's like, I know my purpose. He's like, no, Dean, that was only level 5. So he said, why is it important that you don't go backwards? And I said, I want my kids to have choices. And all of a sudden I started thinking of all this stuff when I was a kid. My parents were married 9 times. I moved a lot. I didn't have choices. I remember I did whatever my parents wanted to. Move, new houses, this, that, the other. There was so much change in my life, so much disruption. I want my kids not to be spoiled. The world doesn't need more entitled children. I just want my children to have choices. So now I'm literally bawling and I'm embarrassed because my team is around. And he said, Dean, thank you for being vulnerable. But why is it important your kids have choices? And I said something that'll stick with me to this day. I said, I need to be in control. And it wasn't a control freak. I just started thinking of my whole childhood. When your parents moved 9 times, I moved 20 times as a 19. By the time I was 19, I had different step grandparents and step brothers and step sisters. And then you come home one day, there's a moving truck, you're gone. And I remember my parents not having money. We weren't in control of anything. And these emotions started flooding back. And I said, this is why I work so hard. I want to be in control of my time. I want to be in control of my calendar. Listen, this might sound boring to some of you right now, but I have 4 kids. My oldest is going to be 20. She just got her own apartment 2 weeks ago. Not an easy task, right? But I want to spend every moment I can with them. I don't miss dance recitals. I don't miss softball practice. I've made breakfast for my kids every day since they were born. I take them to school before they got their license. What's success for me is that, to be in control of my calendar. And when this anchored in, and I want you to hear this is an AI event. You're like, why are we doing this? Because I want you to be so anchored in that you do whatever it takes to buy that time back, to be in control, to give your kids choices or retire your parents, whatever that is. This is a lever. This is a tool that can help you get there. And you need an emotion so strong that when you feel resistance, when you feel too old, when you feel it's hard, when people tell you you're crazy, nothing matters because your why and your purpose is so freaking deep, nothing can stop you. Listen, when I think I need to be in control, I never would want somebody to say to me, oh, I know your daughter's dance recital is today, but we're too busy, you're not going to be able to make it. I would crawl across broken glass before that happened. I would chew through a brick wall because my parents weren't able to come to baseball or be able to come to pick me up from school because they just couldn't. And I decided that's my purpose. So I'm sorry if I got a little deep on this morning. But when you anchor in a why so deep that imposter syndrome doesn't show up, that feeling too old doesn't show up, feeling you missed it doesn't show up, something so strong and overpowers all of it, when your purpose is deep enough, none of that matters. So I hope you do that exercise for you. And I'd love, with that thought, put in the chat, why? Why do you want to learn AI to actually buy you back time? Why do you want to leverage it? Why do you want to start the business? Think about the goal you set yesterday. Why is that important? And put it in the chat. This is beautiful, by the way. Thank you. To be my best self, to be free. Thank you. I needed that. You're welcome, Michelle. I need to talk about it sometimes too. To disrupt, to truly live, to share my voice. You're welcome. You're welcome. I want to be live. It's going so quick. It's going so quick. To be at peace, to have peace. To be in control of my future, to be in control of my time, to enjoy my children, to live free. To help to live into my full potential. To give kids a better life. And I want to tell you, whatever answers you're putting up, keep putting them up. I want you to write it down on your own screen today, in your own journal. And I want you to ask yourself tonight, why is that important? Whatever you write, safety and connection. I want to go to the next level. Freedom. I want to be superhuman. I want financial freedom. Whatever you write down, financial freedom, where did it go already? It's almost Malu. I want you to look at it and say, why do you want financial freedom? Think through all of it. Think through why you want that. Maybe it's more time with family, to get in shape, to get married, or to enjoy the family that you have. Just remember, when you ask yourself this question enough, there's going to be a moment where you feel it go from here to here. And when you feel that, you're in. So whatever your purpose is, hold on to it today, because we're going to learn together, and it's going to help you get through all the levels. But more importantly, just for you as a human, hold on to it in life whenever you feel resistance or you need more courage to follow through. remember this why that you're writing today. Remember this formula? I love going upstream and thinking about it. Purpose creates courage. Courage moves you forward even when you're scared. Combine that with modeling proven strategies, it's the recipe for success. Remember that formula. Purpose creates courage. Courage gets you moving even when you're scared. Combine that with modeling proven practices, it's the recipe for success. Thank you for doing that with me. Maddie, beautiful dog. I see you, Dave Carter. Maria Lisa, Carmen Ross. Love it, love it. All right, you guys are awesome. This is why I'm having so much fun. Where else would I rather be on a Saturday with tens of thousands of amazing people from all around the world? Listen, we've got an incredible lineup today. You have Rachel Woods is back, and she is going to show you literally what we talked about, how to use AI systems to run entire processes for your life, for your business. So one thing can get a whole task done for you. Igor, oh my God, he's been working on his presentation all night, all day. He's in the other room working on it to show you how to amplify your clone experience by giving you a glimpse of what happens when you turn it into an agent and how you could follow it. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss a second of that. Now, I shared yesterday, Tony interviewed Mark Benioff, the founder of Salesforce, a $186 billion company, the legendary Ray Kurzweil, the man that predicted everything about the internet decades ago. And we took some spots. You're going to learn powerful wisdom from them. And then you're going to get Mr. Tony Robbins. He's in our East Coast studio. He is fired up and ready to teach today. He's got something that he's going to end so strong. So don't miss a second. Now, before we bring on our first guest, I just want to address some things that the team and I have seen in the chat. Questions about the boot camp, about how you build a clone, how do you involve it into an agent, about whether this can work for you. Here's the thing. I just want to take a couple minutes here and clear this up first, because the last thing I want is for this day to end and for some of you to hesitate because I didn't explain something clearly or I didn't answer a question. So I'll take a couple minutes and just answer these top questions, and then we'll get to Rachel Woods. Okay, number one, what happens after the boot camp? This was a big one. And again, I thought I explained this. Sorry, you can learn a lot. When you do something and you're excited, sometimes you miss the nuances. So it said, what happens after the boot camp? Do I lose my clone or I get to keep it for life? Once you build your clone, it's yours forever. So so are all the trainings and all the bonuses. It is not locked into our system. In fact, it's not locked into Claude. You could take the DNA, that's what we're calling the foundation of what you create, and later you could move it to ChatGPT, you could move it to Gemini, or whatever platform you desire. You own it forever, period, hard stop. And we also could teach you how you can transfer memories for any system you're using into Claude. That was a big question too. Then people asked, why do we choose Claude? Because from all the research, countless hours of our team, Igor, looking, it showed us it is Claude right now. We think it's the most user-friendly, the best at learning your voice, the quickest, and by far the easiest to evolve your clone into an agent. That's why we chose Claude. Now, is there a cost for Claude? Yes. The one that helps is $20 a month. We get none of that. It's just your foundation. And remember we talked yesterday about or day before, the tractor moment? That's this. Yet the tractor may have cost an entire year of a farmer's salary. Now you get this powerful tool, Claude, at your fingertips for less than 4 cups of coffee a month. Think about that. And we also believe it's the only platform you need. Deep, not wide. Okay? So I hope I answered that. A lot of people asked about your clone's security, intellectual property, how you protect your data, all that. Listen, your clone is 100% yours. We don't see any of it. We don't own any of it. And Igor and the team will share proven strategies on how to best protect your data while you're building and using it. Cool? So that's for those that asked that. So what can I expect to have at the end of the boot camp? Okay, a fully trained clone. A co-pilot, a business partner, everybody had a different name for it, that knows you deeply, thinks like you, feels your weaknesses, and creates alongside of you. Then on the 5th training, we evolve it into an agent that works for you, handling real work. Not a generic chatbot, not a partner that's just been trained on your goals, one that does work, knows your business, and does things when you're not there. In just 6 weeks, I wrote, what Tony Robbins says, life will never be the same again in 6 weeks from right now. And no, you don't need to be technical. We take you through step by step how to do it. That's the whole point of the 6-week journey. You'll evolve with confidence through all 3 levels that Igor explained. Your clone starts working the first week, and then it just gets better, faster, smarter until it's working for you. And for those of you asking what the boot camp actually looks like, I've read so many of these, again, up way too late and up super early this morning. I'm going to go to the whiteboard. It's super sloppy. I came in here at like 7 o'clock this morning and wrote it out. The team's like, do you want us to make it pretty? I'm like, no, I just want to do something real quick. And if we could, how many hours are we at right now? We are at 2.6 million hours saved, which is insane. We did break 4 million last year on this day, and I am confident we're going to do it again. But let's go to the whiteboard. You can leave that up. I want to see if it starts growing. So this is going to take me 90 seconds. I just want to share the boot camp. Now, this is, we talked about the 4 A's. This is, activate, accelerate, augment, and automate. All 4. But really what it does, in the first session, here's how it starts. Friday, we have a welcome call. That's going to be Friday. We're going to set up everything you need, celebrate you, and tell you everything you need to do. Then the following week is our first live session. So we're not losing any momentum. You're going right into this. So then next week, the first one, you'll build your clone. 2, you'll start getting time back by implementing it in your schedule immediately. By week 2, you're getting time back. By week 3, and in week 3, we train it in your voice. So it doesn't just know you, it sounds like you. And it also knows your weaknesses, so it can cover them. In week 4, this is when it starts working alongside of you every single day. From decisions to getting things done to making it better, and it knows your voice and style. This alone, this is what we taught last year, right? Because this wasn't ready yet. But that's why we added 2 more sessions. Now, in session 5, we evolve it into your clone. It starts doing work when you're not there, while you're sleeping. And you trust it by then. And then we make it a part of your life. That is the boot camp evolution. And like Igor said, you got to go through all the steps. You can't go from step 1 to step 6. I promise. That's where overwhelm comes in. Of course, I wrote this down here. You get, that's the wrong, let me see, do that. Okay. Resources and replays. So many of you asked, yes, you get all the resources. They're yours for life, and all the replays go into your back office in case you can't make one live. You can watch it immediately. Cool? Make sense? Okay, bonuses. You get 3 months of the AI Club, weekly reviews, prompt hacks, monthly experts, and community. I will share in a moment what is different about this, but you get 3 months of this powerful community. You're going to absolutely love it. And you get Tony's Leverage Playbook with 25 tasks your agent can handle this month. So as soon as you get to level 5, these are exactly what you're going to be plugging in to start utilizing. Because listen, it's new to us. You're going to have this powerful tool, and you're going to forget that this can do the work for you. Let's model what Tony and we use this for on a regular basis. Now, one more thing I want to add quick that's really cool. Molly added a bonus yesterday. I wrote these down. She read all the comments, and she said, Dean, I could create a whole course for everybody to do everything I do, songs and visuals and music and all that. So she added a course, right? Well, she started a trend, and then Lior and Arthur Brooks, I'll talk more about it later, but both of them added a bonus as well for those who get enrolled. Lior, because so many people asked him on his DM, he's going to share his top prompts, plugins. He shared yesterday to allow any agent to instantly perform better. So you got that from Lior that's coming, and Arthur's got a Better Life protocol. It's a course that he sells, I believe. It's 15 daily protocols pulled from decades of Harvard research. So I guess the speakers just got inspired, and you got some cool stuff. And then lastly, I don't want to oversimplify that, but that's 6 weeks. These are your bonuses. You get these and a 6-week experience to build the customized clone. That's the offer in a nutshell, so I won't go over it again. I just wanted you to have it. And then 2 last questions, then we'll get to our first guest. And what's the difference between the AI Advantage Club and the boot camp? Here's real simple, and it's a great question. Think of it this way. The boot camp, the 6 weeks, is one system. You show up with myself, Igor, and Igor's the trainer. He walks you through it step by step, And at the end, you'll have that fully trained clone that knows you, that works for you, and works for you. That's it. That's the immersion. That's where change happens. The club, the AI Advantage Club, that's like your gym membership. It's where you stay plugged in after the boot camp. Weekly strategies, monthly deep dives with experts. You learn from people like Igor. Molly's doing it May or June. Lior, the AI surfer. They come in every month to train. That's your ongoing. Plus, you're in there with 40,000 other people just like you sharing their breakthroughs. So I guess the club keeps you sharp. The club keeps you, the boot camp teaches it. The club keeps you sharp and keeps you current. I guess the simplest way to share it is the boot camp builds your clone. The club helps keep it evolving and growing. And when you combine the two, it's pretty damn amazing. And that's why we wanted to give you 3 months of it. And this question just came in. Almost done. Almost done. I want to get these out of the way so I don't have to talk about this for the rest of the day. Is there a discount for previous AI Advantage bootcamp members? And how is the bootcamp different? This is only for a small group of you, but we'd love to have you back. The first part is easy. Yes, there's a discount for you. Look out in your email, your alumni, your family. Easy. The second part, yes, the bootcamp has evolved because the tech has evolved and made things better and easier. So the last time we stopped here, now it goes to here. Plus new bonuses, plus extra 3 months. That's the difference. And lastly, when do I have to decide? Yes, this is an event-only offer. If you were with us 6 months ago, after the event, we shut it off, and it hasn't been open until now, until we improved it. That's just the way we do it. And again, we start on Friday. All right, that's it. That's it. That's all the questions. I hope I got all of them. If you got more, put them into the chat. And lastly, remember, there's a money-back guarantee. All the questions that you're confused about now, I promise they'll all go away once you're a part of this amazing group. All right. Our next guest, our first guest today. Who's ready for our first guest? Okay, she was with us last November, and everybody asked her to come back, and she did. Rachel Woods is one of the sharpest minds in AI operations. And I want to be clear about operations again, because operations, the truth is, doesn't sound so sexy, but it's the thing that separates businesses that grow from businesses that grind. Anybody know anybody that's ever started a business and they're actually busier in the business that they started than they were in the job they have? Anybody? Yeah, Cheryl, I see you shaking your head, right? It's because, I see you, Janelle, right? It's because you didn't have the right systems in place. And listen, I'll put it this way. If sales and marketing are the face of your business, operations is the heart. And Rachel's going to show you how AI can make the heart beat faster, lighter, and smarter. Last time, she introduced something called AI playbooks, a way to take any process in your business or even in life, write it out clearly, and then have AI run parts of it or all of it for you. Not just a task at a time, not one task at a time, an entire workflow. And people lost their minds. This time, she's going even deeper because since November, this approach has gotten more powerful because of the opportunity to have agents and clones go to another level. So if you've been wondering, how do I actually scale what I'm learning? Rachel is about to show you exactly how. Please welcome back to our stage, in just a minute, after I play a sizzle reel, Rachel Woods. Let's play this.
If I could define what I wanted done, if I could define how I wanted my business to run, then I could get AI to go run it that way, operate it that way. And that's just been the path we've been on since.
Rachel Woods, who I consider one of the absolute leading experts on what I think is going to be an incredibly important field of AI.
Rachel Woods, founder of Divvy Up Agency, an AI operations agency on a mission to help you build your AI strategy, implementation, and training roadmap for your agency to ramp up and get ahead.
It's just so important, and that's like where I create content from, is like, if someone can not feel concerned about the future of their business because like they watched a few videos.
I started my career at Facebook, actually working in their R&D department, literally doing AI in the ads ranking stack, so like the perfect blend of marketing and data science.
You may have seen her on TikTok covering tips for AI. I've been following her very closely, trying to stay up to date what's going on. She does a really good job of breaking this stuff down.
What is unlimited time about?
So I think we're entering a new era where time is just no longer going to be the bottleneck, because once you define what you want AI to do,
it can go do it. And so you don't have to spend the time doing that.
Let's give a huge Saturday welcome to Rachel Woods.
Hi. So excited. All right. Hello, everybody. Are you guys excited? I know we are here on a Saturday and we are here to learn about AI. I cannot wait to go through this session with you guys and teach you guys my playbooking method, which is how any of you guys can turn repetitive tasks that you're doing into AI-powered processes. All right? So first, before we jump in, I want to give you guys a glimpse of my reality, because I'm very lucky to have a team of 10 people that work with me, and we're really proud of the work that we do. But I will say we're even more proud of the work that we don't do. So we have 0 people right now doing sales outreach and follow-up. We have 0 people managing our inbox. We have 0 people reporting on our marketing campaigns. We have 0 people building our marketing funnels. We have 0 people doing a lot of things inside our company. But still, all of that work gets done every single week and on time. And the reason that that's the case is because my team and I have made a shift. We don't just use AI, we actually operate with it. And what that means is basically we decide what AI needs to do, and then AI goes and executes it. So today, what I'm going to talk about is how we do that, which is the playbooking method. And if you stay until the end, I'm actually going to go through some of the exact playbooks that we use to power our business. Does that sound good? Are you guys ready? Okay, perfect. Now, before I get too deep into this, I do want to actually make sure that you guys need this. I want to just figure out, again, like where y'all are at with your day-to-day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the screen a couple of different statements, and I want you guys to drop a yes in the chat if you can relate to these, all right? So the very first one is, who here has work on your plate that you feel like is below your pay grade? Drop a yes in the chat. Okay, we have Dan, we have Peter, Roger. Okay, we have a lot of yeses. So a lot of us have this as our current reality, right? Now, next question. How many of you guys have felt busy all day but not actually productive when you go look at the day at the end of it? Okay, we have even more yeses. So a lot of people, right? Now, drop a yes in the chat if you've explained the same thing to the same person more than once. Maybe this is a client, maybe this is someone on your team, maybe even your boss. All right, so we have the chat. I mean, now it's flying. A lot of us have had this experience. We have absolutely every day. Yes. So, and the last one that I want you guys to think about is, how many of you guys have tried to delegate something only to then be going back and forth with somebody until you're like, you know what, never mind. I think it was just faster if I did it myself. Okay, all the time. We have Emmett. Yeah. Okay, so I'm glad that I'm not the only one. And what I want you guys to do is look at the chat, because this feeling that we have all faced in different parts of our life, maybe you're facing it right now, hopefully not today, because today's a Saturday, but maybe you faced it yesterday. That's what I call operational debt. And it is basically the difference between how you know things should run and how they actually run and how they actually happen. And that gap is a gap that every single one of us has suffered from. And we're going to talk about how to use AI to get through that today. So again, I have suffered so much operational debt throughout my career. In particular, my last business, I felt like so many days were just me like pushing a rock up a hill, trying to get through the day-to-day. I'm seeing Canyon is nodding a lot. Basically, what happened was I just got so fed up with it. And I was like, there just has to be a better way. It led to me becoming obsessed with figuring out, how can I get out of this operational debt? How can I get through this? How do I operate smarter? And luckily, that's when AI started really picking up on the scene. And over the last 3 years, I have honed a technique that I call the playbooking method, which is really the fastest way to get AI to help you out of the operational debt so that we can focus more on what's next. So let's jump into what this method is. The first thing that I want to help you guys think about is something that I kind of had to learn the hard way, which is that whenever you want to get AI to start doing things for you, especially doing more complex processes, the best thing is actually to take AI out of your mind and instead think about a new mindset, which is how would you teach a human how to do this process? And so what I want you guys to do is let's imagine that we hired an assistant, and to get that assistant to be really good, we would give them probably context on our company, our job. We would tell them what we want them to do. We would also then tell them how we want them to do it. And if we wanted to really set them up for success, we would probably write all of that down into something like an employee handbook, and then we would give it to them. And we would imagine that if they followed that handbook to a T, then they would probably do a pretty good job, right? That's how you would train a person how to do something. Now, with AI, you can make a playbook, which is basically that employee handbook, but for AI. And so I want you to have the same mindset again. If you were to get AI, if you were to have something that you want to teach people, just have that same mindset for how you would teach AI that process. So, okay, I'm an example person. What I want to do is go through an example so you guys can see how this actually really works. So who here writes a newsletter? Or maybe wishes that you wrote a newsletter? Okay, a lot of us. I see Tammy, I see Lisa, yeah. So if you write a newsletter or if you tried one, you guys know like it is a grind. Every single time you have to go write it because you have to figure out, okay, what's going to be a good topic? What do I want to write about? Then you have to outline it. Then you have to draft it. And then you reread it a bunch and you're editing it to make sure that it sounds good. Then you have to figure out subject lines that make people open it, right? And that doesn't stop once you do it. Then you turn around and you have to do that again for the next time you want to send a newsletter. It's this recurring grind and process. And then if you go try to jump into using AI, let's say you go into chat and you want AI to help you write that newsletter, it might go something like this, which is that you ask AI to help you write the newsletter on a topic, and then it comes back and you're like, no, that's like way too corporate. I'm more casual. And so you try to correct the AI, and then maybe it like misinterprets what you're saying. And so then it starts to add in like emojis, and you're like, no, that's not what that's not what I want. And before you know it, you're going back and forth and you're like fighting with the AI to try to just get it to help you write the newsletter. And eventually you're thinking, man, I could have just like written this by hand myself and it would have been faster. This is a really common experience. Yeah, I see Tammy nodding. So what's missing when you fall into this moment is that you need to give AI your playbook. Just like that assistant, you need to give them really the instructions for how you want your newsletter written. So to start writing the playbook, the first thing you do is you want to come up with the outline of your process. You want to think about, what am I going to try to get the AI to do? Now, outlining your playbooks is actually really easy. Every single playbook can be outlined by just identifying these 4 things. So the first is the trigger, which is what kicks off the playbook, or what is the thing that happens that means we should go run the playbook. Some common triggers are maybe on a schedule, so it might be every Monday morning we want to use this playbook, or it could be associated to some sort of event, like after every client call, I want to run the playbook, so the trigger would be finishing a client call. Then the next thing you want to define is the inputs, which is what does the AI need from me every single time I want it to run this playbook. Think of this as the things that vary every time that you're going to use this playbook. So if we were going to do a playbook to write recaps after a meeting, it would be the transcript that you're going to put into the playbook. Then the third thing you need to define is the steps in the process. So this is where you think about, what are the actual tasks that I do? Again, if we were going to do a meeting recap playbook, it would be something like, I want you to identify the action items. I want you to identify who needs this recap. And then for each of those people, I want you to write a recap for them of what they need to know. Whatever your process is, you need to just write down those steps, and that becomes the steps of your playbook. And then the fourth thing is your outputs. Think of this as the end result. This is, why did we even make this playbook in the first place? But once you define these 4 things, you've gotten really clear about what you want the AI to do. And so to go back to our example, if we think about a newsletter, the trigger would be something like, every morning at 9 a.m. on Mondays, I want to sit down and write this newsletter. And so that would be the trigger of this playbook. Then for the inputs, now I still want my newsletter to be stuff that I want to talk about. Like I still want it to come from my brain, right? That's the human side of what I want to communicate. And so I might have the inputs of the newsletter be something like just a brain dump of the things that are top of mind that I then want the AI to help me kind of sort through and build out into the actual newsletter. Then I think about what is my process, right? We talked about I pick the topic, then I outline it, then I draft it, then I edit it for my brand voice, and then I write the subject line. So those would become the steps of the playbook. And then finally, we get to the output, which in this case would be the drafted newsletter. You guys with me? So all we need to do, again, is define what the steps are of the process. And there we have the outline. The next piece is you then go through and you do a lot of what you've heard throughout this entire summit. You need to get really specific about how you want the AI to do each step. And you guys have gotten a lot of great tips around how to get specific, but just to highlight some of my favorite ones, first you want to make sure you're really clear, especially not giving the AI contradictory information, so just making sure your instructions are clear. Then you want to think about what background context might the AI need, and put that in there so that it knows and has the context it's operating in. Then you want to make sure you share examples, especially for things that are easier to show rather than just tell. It really helps to give the AI examples of each step. And then my favorite secret weapon is something that I call success criteria, which is basically giving the AI like a checklist of what a good output looks like, so that then when you give it that set of success criteria, it knows, oh, okay, let me optimize to make sure that the way I do this step fits what you've defined. So if you include these, you're going to get really specific inside, again, each step in the playbook. Then once you do that, you're going to take your playbook, and so imagine you're writing this in a document, and then you want to go save this in any AI tool. Now you might be like, wait a second, Rachel, you're saying any AI tool? Yes. That is one of the best parts about thinking this way and playbooking. We call this a concept of own the playbook, rent the tech, because you can actually take these playbooks and run these in any tool that has a way for the AI to follow instructions, which since even the last 6 months, so many of these tools, almost all of them, have a way to run playbooks now. And just to give you guys some of my favorite tool recommendations, again, there's these features in almost any tool that you might be using. So if you're in Claude, this would be adding the playbook into a Claude skill. If you're in ChatGPT, you can add this playbook into a custom GPT, or they actually just released this week. ChatGPT has now agents. You can give your agent the playbook. In Microsoft Copilot, you can also give those agents your playbook. In Google Gemini Gems, again, putting your playbook in there. You can even use these playbooks, this is one of my favorites, in automation tools. So if you want to set your playbook to just run automatically in the background in a tool like Zapier, what you can do is take each step of the playbook and make that one step in your automation tool. And then you can also get really nerdy and really techy and get into OpenClaw and all that stuff. Again, they all run off of playbooks, which is great. So once we've done that, once we've saved the playbook, now we're ready to run it. And here's what that looks like. So let's say I'm going into Claude. The way to run one of these playbooks in Claude, once I've saved it, is just to go in, again with my trigger, every Monday at 9 a.m. and say, run my newsletter playbook. Then what it's going to do is it's actually going to load up that playbook from where I've saved it in the instructions, so that now the AI just knows everything that I've already given it, and it can use that to run the playbook. Then what becomes really powerful is it starts asking me for the inputs that I told it that I'm going to give it to run the playbook. So again, for the newsletter, the inputs are the brain dump. So here's an example of me brain dumping something I want to talk about in a newsletter. Once I give that, then the AI starts following the steps one at a time that I told it. So picking the topic, then outlining the newsletter, then drafting the newsletter, then editing for brand voice, then writing the subject line, and then the final result is I get to my drafted newsletter. And what's amazing about this, and I want you guys to really see this, because when the final result is I get to my drafted newsletter. And what's amazing about this, and I want you guys to really see this, because when people experience this for the first time, and I hope after this you guys go write your first playbook, but it's a huge aha moment They were like, wait a minute, I just got AI to do work without having to prompt it each time because it's actually loading up a playbook I already gave it. Then it's following my process and my steps. So I'm not fighting back and forth with the AI trying to get it to do what I want. Like it's just following what I told it. And then because it's following your process, you can actually trust it to be good, just like how you give the employee handbook to the assistant. You've now given your playbook to the AI. And so as long as it follows it, you can trust that it's good. And of course, that's not all, because now that I have it playbooked, before I was using it, playbooking in this way for this newsletter, this took me like 2 to 3 hours per week to sit down and like figure out what am I going to write about in this newsletter and edit it and go back and forth. But now because I'm using AI in this way, I'm down to 30 minutes per week of writing my newsletter, and the newsletters are so much better because I actually have this process and this playbook that I'm following. And I'm somebody that likes to add up the hours that my playbooks save me, and so if you add up that time savings per year on one single playbook, I have saved 130 hours per year. Yeah, so this has been huge for me. And so you might be thinking, amazing, Rachel, what else can I playbook? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys my 4 favorite places to look so that after today, you guys can go scan through your life and find things that you can playbook. The first and easiest thing is to look for any SOPs, standard operating procedures that you might have. So any process documents, a lot of those could be turned into AI playbooks, so AI does them instead of you having to do the process. You could also then go into your calendar. So what I like doing is looking over the last 1 to 2 months, and especially looking for recurring meetings and thinking, what is the prep I do for this meeting? What is the follow-up or the types of projects that come out of the meeting? Or my favorite is, which of these meetings could actually just be a playbook, right? So then after you do that, you can look then in your to-do list. So the way to think about your to-do list is look for the things that are recurring, that keep coming up, especially the things that might take 4, 5, 6 hours per month. That's a really good threshold that once you playbook it, you've now unlocked a pretty substantial amount of your time. And then my last but favorite is to think about your wish list. What are the things that you would do if you had unlimited time, and how can you write a playbook for those? Some of my favorite playbooks are things that were on my wish list. So remember when I said earlier that I have a team of 10 people, and one of the things we are most proud of is all of the work we're not doing? What I wanted to leave you guys with today is so many examples of playbooks because I want you guys to see the power of this. So I'm going to go through pretty quickly some of the playbooks that we use to power our business. And so I'd encourage you guys to take screenshots or write these down if these are playbooks that you might want to add into your life. So one of the first ones is we use playbooks every single day to get to inbox 0. And we use this for our company inbox and also our personal inboxes. And again, to define the playbook, we just define those 4 pieces: the trigger, the inputs, the steps, and the outputs. And so for this playbook, the trigger is every morning at 8 a.m. The inputs are that the AI playbook gets all of our incoming emails, and then we run the process of categorizing it by how urgent, deciding how we want to respond, even looking at our calendar to schedule and send out meetings, so that then our inbox is fully handled by our AI playbook. And this has been a game changer. We also use AI playbooks to launch more campaigns inside our business. So on the marketing side, anytime we have a new offer or new thing that we want to share, we're using our AI playbook to draft the landing pages, draft the emails, draft even the lead magnets. Then after the campaign, we're also using AI playbooks to analyze the performance of that campaign. So we take the data from the campaign and give it to our AI playbook so that it can run the analysis, give us key takeaways, and recommend stuff that we want to do next. We also then use AI playbooks to maximize every single sales lead so that after the marketing happens, we can make sure that we're really personalizing outreach and making the most of people that are interested in our products and services. We also use AI playbooks to improve our client experience. So after any call we have with our clients, we take the transcripts and we put them through some rubrics that we've created about how we want to show up for our clients and have the AI actually coach us on how to do that even better. And my personal favorite, which I like to joke has turned me into a project machine, is we have a playbook that we use to do 3 times more projects as a team because we have a playbook that helps us not only plan the projects, but also get started on them. How it works is the playbook takes in just a description of the project, and what we do is the AI then asks us questions to clarify the project. It helps brainstorm approaches, decide what the best approach is, then turn that into a timeline and tasks. And the best part is after the AI has helped us plan the project, we have the AI go, oh, I can do those tasks. Let me start on them so that it can start doing the projects. Again, this has turned me into a project machine. I love this one. And that's not all. You can actually then start to stack these playbooks into a system so you can do even more. Some of the playbooks that I've stacked together have actually made up my personal operating system. Yeah, so I'm seeing Cheryl is like, oh my gosh, this is really what powers my life. I've playbooked stuff from my morning routine to my strategy, to my projects, to ideas and tasks, to even life stuff. And these playbooks get to work with each other so they can accomplish even more and get even more off of my plate. And the main thing I really want to help you guys see is that with each of these playbooks, you're unlocking more time, more leverage, and getting accelerated results. And that has really been the power of playbooking. So my number one goal for you guys today was so that you can see the power of playbooking. Did we do that? Did we get there? You guys see this? Amazing. Because last time when I was here, I shared about playbooking and I said, guys, this is the future. I want you guys to know that this is possible. But fast forward just 6 months, the future is here. And that future, again, isn't just using AI. That's the foundation. It's really thinking about how can you operate with it. And so what I want to do is invite everyone here to put on your AI operator hat, right? And next time that you're facing operational debt, hopefully not tomorrow, but the next time that that happens, I want you to remember that you can playbook that. Thank you so much, everybody.
So good. So good. So good. Rachel Woods, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh my God, so good. Don't you just love seeing someone who just loves their craft? How cool is it that I got to interview 50 amazing people like that? And the cool part is, I knew the ones that needed to be a part of our education, to help us in our training, to be on the event. You could just see it. Do you feel that way with Rachel? Can you feel her heart? And I want to make sure you caught something that just happened. The old way, you create a process. Then you do the process. Then you stack the process into a system. Every time, now forever, the new way is you create a playbook and then you let AI do some of it or all of it. Now imagine combining that with a clone and an agent that already knows your business, your voice. That's where things really compound. And I got something really cool to share with you. Did you see her favorite part, her project planning playbook, where she says she's 3 times as fast? Well, here's the cool part. When we were backstage before she went live, Rachel generously agreed that for those in the boot camp, she is going to include her project planning playbook, her favorite part, in the project. We got more bonuses than we've ever had in our life, and it all started with Molly. So everybody give it up for Molly who started it, because each speaker's like, hell yes, hell yes, hell yes. Can we give it up for Rachel Woods one more time? She's in the back. She can see you. I see you, Jessica. All right, well, and we're only getting 5, with this day, this is just beginning. Who's ready to play full out for the rest of the day? Listen, as I took notes during Rachel's share, I just anchored in what I said earlier. Your ability to scale is directly tied to your ability to simplify. I'm gonna repeat it. You can't scale complexity. You can't launch if you're confused. That's why I love the opportunity you have to use AI to create simplicity in your business. I know up until this point, you might be thinking AI is complexity. Who's seeing AI as the great simplifier if you do it right? Who sees it loud and clear, right? Listen, yesterday you set your 90-day goal. Who's starting to feel it's more attainable now, right? You wrote it down. I'd love to say, do you remember your goal? Write your goal in the chat. Put it in right now so you can remember it, so it's in front of you. And here's what I'm going to say. Not only put it in the chat so everybody else can read your goal, I'd say write it everywhere. Put your goal on a sticky note. Put one on the refrigerator. Put one on the laptop. Make it your screensaver on your computer. Put it on the screensaver on your phone. Do what it takes to keep it in front of you, in front of mind. Create silk screen business, getting a part-time life. I'm sorry, it goes so quick. More deals closed. Launch my business, a life worth living. So beautiful. To help bring more people to my church. Oh my God, so beautiful. More quality time, be more organized, write my book, write my second book. I want to find a team to help me. Sorry, I went so quick. Launch my business, create a business, gain more muscle, launch a business, increase production and save 15 hours a week on it. More security, more time, more creativity, unlock who I'm meant to be, amazing deals with 3 to 5 investors. My 10,000 teams, so good. A yacht, I love it. Anthony, just go right in. Anthony Russell says yacht. Love it, right? If that's your driver, awesome. Grow my children. Wow. I'm in an emotional mood today. Anybody mentions children here, I'm ready to cry. I think it's because my oldest moved out. Thank goodness she works with me, so found a way to stay close. Be more organized. Get 10,000 steps in per day. Monthly reoccurring revenue. Abundance. Plans. So beautiful. Keep writing them. And again, seriously, put these anywhere you can. This is your vision. This is your compelling future. This is the thing you're driving towards. So if you know your goal, if you know your compelling future, and you combine that with what we did earlier. Today, when we did the why and your purpose, how important, do you see how important that is to your goal? Raise your hand or say yes if you see how important that is. In my opinion, your purpose is the foundation for embracing change courageously. Hear me on that one. Your why, your purpose is how you embrace change in a courageous way. So what was your why? I know you guys wrote so many beautiful ones, but maybe you even went a little deeper since then. So I'd love to put your why there. And again, on the same thing, write your why on the same sticky with your goal. Whatever your goal is, right? Double my business. Put your purpose right alongside of it, right? Remember, it's got to be front and center all the time because you're going to have resistance come in. You're going to have questions. You're going to have other people question you. This is how you break through that. Tony taught me this years ago. Nothing happens unless you attach an emotion to your why. So why? My children, my purpose, growing my children, providing for my daughter when she can, to awake people so they stop hurting others, setting up my creativity, my purpose, my family, my church, launch my new business, to pay my mom's mortgage. I did that. It was the greatest experience of my life. My kids. Look at all these beautiful, giving my mom's presence in our family forever, even when she's gone. These are purposes that'll make sure you don't quit. I see you, Yvonne, right? You probably know nothing happens until you anchor something in that says, I am not stopping. No matter what gets in my way, I'm getting through because I deserve this better version of me. My kids, my greatest blessing, my daughter, my life. It's so beautiful. So if you write down this compelling future that you wrote down and you attach your why, the only thing left is how will you accomplish it? How will you achieve it? What's next is how will you get AI to effectively work with you and for you so you can reach that goal and live into that purpose? And I got to tell you, that's why we designed the AI Advantage Bootcamp. It is the how. Build your clone, train it, put it to work as an agent, and go lean into who you're meant to be. And I don't say that lightly. I say it because I watched thousands of people do exactly that at our last summit. You see them, they're commenting in here. It's incredible. It fills our heart, and it's even better now because technology grew. They had a goal. They had a purpose. And then they had the boot camp as the how to achieve it. So here's the question. If you had an AI clone, an agent, working beside you and for you, helping you buy back that time in the end, how much faster could you reach that goal? Where could you be in 90 days? But better yet, where could you be in a year? Where could you be in 5? How much sooner could you step into who you're meant to be and who you're capable of becoming? And that's what we're offering you, not a magical money machine, the path to go faster, not more information, a map. Let's dream for a moment. Imagine you say yes today, and listen to this. By the end of next week, your clone is already working, saving time. Within 6 weeks, it's fully trained. And now you're scheduling tasks for your agent to accomplish on its own. That's 6 weeks from right now. You feel lighter, you feel clearer, more creative, out in front, not left behind. In 90 days, you reinvested those hours into what matters most, whether it's that business, or the one you want to start, your health, your family, your peace of mind, all the purposes that you put here. And the fact of the matter is, you're already 95% ahead of the world by saying yes. I see we're about to cross 3 million hours saved. We'd love for you to join us so you could see how it feels on the other side. Listen, I hope you see by now, this isn't about the tools. It's about a new way of business and life. It's about getting rid of the noise, the 50 tools and all the craziness, and follow one path to AI success, to clarity, to confidence. Without it, 3 months from now, you might still be grinding and reacting, wondering why others are pulling ahead. With it, you'll be proud of the person you choose to become. So I guess the question that really matters is, which future do you want to choose? So I don't want this event just to inspire you. That's why Tony and I designed it. You'll feel his passion today. We want to transform you. And that starts with a single decision today, because when this event ends, so does the opportunity. After last year's event was over, we didn't open the boot camp until now. That's just how we do it. Plus the training starts in just a couple of days. And I know some of you are thinking, maybe I could figure this out on my own. I could watch some YouTube videos, I'll piece it together. Look, I respect that. I appreciate the hustle. But I have to tell you, after 29, almost 30 years of doing this, my experience says the people who try to figure it out alone take so much longer to figure out, and sometimes they get frustrated and they quit. And the people who invest into a proven path, pay for speed, who surround themselves with an incredible community and a guide, they're the ones who actually transform. So you don't need to hear the whole offer again. You guys get it. But I just want to go over it one more time in about 30 seconds. This will be the last time. This is the last opportunity for the day. The AI Advantage Bootcamp, you know, it's a live, virtual, 6-week experience to teach a clone to work with you and for you. We went over these earlier on the whiteboard. You build it. You get it to know you. You get to think like you. You get to work alongside of you. You get it to work for you. And then you plug it into your life. And of course, we put 2 incredible bonuses. You get the AI Advantage Club for 3 months. You get to be a part of this community that's the ongoing, like I shared, like the gym. It's incredible. You'll have access to that. And you get Tony's Leverage Playbook. When you're done with week 5 and you got your agent set up, then this will show you what you could start doing with your agent, because I promise you won't know immediately. This is so good. And then, of course, our speakers wanted to do something fun because Molly started it. You already know. You get Molly's vivid visuals. You get Lior's agent library. You get Arthur's best-selling life protocols. And now you get Rachel's favorite part, her project planning playbook. Literally, this is worth what the entire program costs. This is what you get access to. And as you know, all of that, not $3,000, you can enroll for $995. You can start with a payment plan of $380 today and be a part of this tonight. Join thebootcamp.com. And we've done something no one's ever done. An irresistible offer that's beyond irresistible. If you do the work and you don't save 15 hours a week, we'll refund 100% of your investment. It's that simple. No questions asked. And yesterday, the chat blew up when we said, who was in the boot camp last year? And what'd you think of it? Now, it's hard for me to read these, but the last boot camp, definitely worth it. Small price to pay for such rich blessing and time back in my life. The last boot camp was amazing. These all came in one after another. There's a whole pile of them, right? The boot camp, absolutely amazing. I'll never be the same. Boot camp last year was by far the best investment of 2025. The boot camp is so worth it. It was fantastic, life-changing. I can't barely read even with glasses. There's nothing to wait on this. It was the best learning seminar workshop of my life. This is what they had last year. And so many of them are joining again. Thank you so much. And we can't wait to have you. So before we get to Igor and share from Mark Benioff and Ray Kurzweil and Tony Robbins ending this strong, we're going to give you one last enrollment break so you could say yes to yourself before the day is over. The chance to stay plugged in. And if you still have any questions, here's what I want to say. I promise you'll get them answered in the boot camp. If not, you have a full money back guarantee. Because this is it, the opportunity to be a part of this community. It ends when the event ends. So remember, we start next week. The link is jointhebootcamp.com. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna play a quick reel of people that were a part of it last year, and we'll take about a 10, 12-minute break. Go get enrolled. Let me know when you're in, and we're back. Oh my God, Igor is gonna blow your freaking mind. We'll play this, be back in a few minutes.
I just want to say how amazing it is.
Since I've joined the boot camp, I have been using my clone for so much. The most valuable thing I got from it was I stopped applying for jobs and I created, with the help of my clone, my own business.
Right now, we are standing in one of the biggest turning points in human history. And the choices you make with AI over these next 90 days can reshape the next decade of your business and your life.
The most valuable part has been learning how to use AI as a real thinking partner, not to replace me, but to amplify me.
I built a website, I built an app, I got an AI assistant, and I'm hitting my fitness goals.
It literally has been a deal breaker, and I've created websites and funnels and things that I'd only really ever dreamed of before.
More clarity, more confidence, less overwhelm, and more time.
So not only have I saved hours, I've also increased my volume output for my business, which has allowed me to show up in my community more, which has been astronomical.
What really matters here, what really matters is you getting your time back.
My clone works flipping overtime. It is unbelievable. I can honestly tell you that I probably save 20 or 30 hours a week.
Automated about 80% of my daily activities so I can focus on more important things.
The result is simple. I'm faster, more consistent, and more impactful.
I'm more efficient. It helps me write emails. It helps me think through things.
Using AI more intentionally has helped me reduce overwhelm, made me feel more capable, like I'm actually tapping into what AI can offer instead of just barely scratching the surface.
It is so mind-blowing. What we accomplished in 20 minutes would have taken us, I am sure, months.
Our focus here is how do we get you to free up your time, and how do we get you leverage for more impact with less time?
Igor, you rock. Those prompts rock. Dean and Tony, you've made me a better person because I signed up for this.
You're not behind. You're right on time, and you're in the right place. I see you, David Brotman, rocking it out. I see you, Janet Laura. What is going on? Be careful driving, Natasha. Look at George Weaver. Look at everybody rocking it out. There we go. We got a lot of fun stuff left. Hey, everybody. First off, welcome back. And listen, whether you just enrolled or you're still deciding, I just want to say, this has been such an amazing, we just broke, I don't know, I can't remember, you see below, right over here, it's backwards. We broke 4 million hours saved collectively in this group. Give it up for this amazing group of humans. I gotta tell you, listen, of course, I know I'm making a sale, but I have to tell you, I am so excited for you. This is 30 years of doing this every day of my life. It's 47 years of Tony doing this every day of our lives. And I know who you're going to become after. So when we see this, we celebrate those hours because I know you're going to get them back. And I know you're going to lean into who you're meant to be. So if you see my enthusiasm just grow through the day, because those numbers mean lives changed. So we love having you. You'll see how excited I am. And here's what I want to tell you. Whether you're enrolled or not, I know I just said that, but what you're about to learn next deeply matters either way. We have Mr. Igor Pagani back. Don't you love this guy? And this time, he's not just talking about fluency, which was amazing, not just the 3 levels, not just the context sandwich. He's going to show you what's possible when you have laid the proper foundations, evolving from a clone who works alongside of you to what it looks like to have a fully trained agent to work for you 24 hours a day. This is going to blow your mind. You guys ready for your mind to be blown? Are you guys ready for Igor? Come on, let's bring up the energy on day 3. All right, without further ado, can we welcome back our head of education and partner, Igor Pagani.
Thank you, Nick.
You got it.
All right. Day 3, huh? Cool. So we have some foundations now. We have a lot of context. We can, talk about some things that don't just get everybody on the same page, but go a little deeper. So I hope you're having a good time out here. I know we are. Oh my God, everybody's just so excited about this whole thing. Natasha vibing like in the car with us. I love it. But look, today we're about to go a little deeper, as Dean alluded to. And we're going to build up on what we talked about. So now you've been with us for 3 days, right? So I want you to reevaluate where you are right now, on the free levels. Because hopefully something shifted, at least your awareness of what's going on in AI and how to think about this skill and this goal of fluency shifted, right? Quick recap, super quick in like 10 seconds, 3 levels, right? Everybody starts AI for answers, the intuitive level. You move to using it as a daily work partner, work with it over time. You discover use cases, you experiment. You really have to explore to deserve this level 2. And then ultimately, if you've done enough of that, you're going to work yourself towards level 3. AI working for you, where you let go. And this entire talk, the next 19 minutes we have together roughly, going to be about that. Going to be about level 3, what that looks like in practice and how you make this transition in whatever you're doing. Now, before we do that, I just want to quickly get a pulse check on, have you tried any of the stuff from the summit? Have you tried the context sandwich from day one? I showed you, that was my way of showing you that we can move from level 1 to level 2 just with the power of words, just with the power of explaining yourself a little more. That's level 2. If you use the context sandwich, you felt it. Remember the context sandwich from day one? Also, let's show the other image, the better one. Yeah, that one right there, the context sandwich, right? In the middle, you have the task, and you so many people love that. Okay. You move from just giving it what you want to do to also giving it information about you and also giving it what good looks like. This is where you're comfortably at level 2. Anybody did that? Anybody did the context sandwich? Got better results? Hands up, yes in chat. It's better results, right? Just straight up, they become more personalized. Amazing, amazing. So that's really what it comes down to. But I didn't tell you one thing, and I withheld it from you on purpose, because a lot of people come in here and we can't just start talking about level 3 stuff without addressing level 1 and deeply going into level 2. What Rachel just talked about is really at the bleeding edge of level 2. It's kind of the final frontier of level 2. Everything you do, putting it into playbooks, right? Structuring it. It's like a SOP in business, if you're familiar with that, where you just create a document on step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the bleeding edge of level 2. But what I did not tell you is that the same context sandwich also is the key to unlocking level 3, right? So when you have an AI working as an agent for you, it also needs a context sandwich, and we'll get into that now. Now, here's the fun thing. As soon as you move into level 3, you have this agent, you can also give it a personality, right? So to begin kind of the examples here, I want you to meet my AI agent. His name is Alfredo, and here's the thing. Alfredo, this is, show him. This is Alfredo. Now, Alfredo is an Italian-American who gets things done. And he gets them done, but he has a lot of heart. When I asked him like what he looks like, this is what he came back with. He basically created this image of himself. It's like, this is me, your agent, running stuff. It's like, okay. Now, I told Alfredo that we're going to show him off today and that I want to, show him to the summit audience here. And he was like, ooh, he knows the summit audience, right? We talked about it. And he told me, this might not be the ideal picture to show. It's a bit too intimidating. And he was like, Igor, what if we created a new picture for the audience? I was like, sure, let's do it. So he made this. Check it out. It's a bit friendlier. I like it. Alfredo, cooking it up. Now, look, we're just having fun here, right? But as you can give him an identity and work with him. And of course, he can't cook for you, right? But he does run my research in my sleep, as I showed you on day one. He did a full YouTube video for me as I was recovering from a surgery. I'm about to tell you about that. And he flags what's missing in my meetings, what I'm missing in my meetings, and so much more. And yes, he does have an Italian accent, obviously. He even talks like that in like his messages. It's kind of funny. He sends that emoji, and I just gave him personality, You can do that because it's doing its own thing. You can really think of it as this entity outside of you. Now, I think we're ready to move into the part where I show you Alfredo in action and what he actually does, what this looks like tactically. So let me show you. Now, the first example is going to be working with transcripts. This is something really simple that I think a lot of you could achieve relatively quickly. And the second example is going to be something a bit more complicated, but, good to show it off, good to show you what is possible. And it took a time to get to both. It took some time to get to both of these, especially the second one. Honestly, it took like multiple months of experimenting and figuring different things out. But here, the first one we're about to talk about, I think it's going to be super, super relatable for many of you. It is working with meeting transcripts, okay? So how many of you here have used some of the off-the-shelf tools like meeting note takers? You've probably seen this, right? Like, have you used these? Like Zoom has a built-in one, Google Meets has a built-in one, like every meeting application in existence has a built-in one. There's also all of these rogue meeting participants that come into your meetings, and all of a sudden there's like some company logo on them. You've probably seen them, right? A few examples here: Fathom, Fireflies, etc. But they have these logos as their profile pictures, and essentially, if you're not familiar, what they do is they listen in on your meeting, and they transcribe it. They just listen to the words and then use just technology in the background to turn audio into text. So it produces like a Word document of everything you say, right? That's what happens in the background. And what they do then, they use AI. So basically, they take that document, a text document, they give it to something like ChatGPT in the back, essentially, and they tell it to summarize it and, you know, extract the action items. And they might even send you an email, right? Now, here's the fun thing. You might not suspect it, but if you're using an AI note taker, you already experienced level 3. Think about it. It's working for you. It's sitting in on the meeting. It's creating the transcript. It's summarizing it. And it's sending it to you. It uses tools, uses AI. It's level 3. It's AI working for you, not with you, right? It just happens. But here's the thing. Level 3 is deep. Once we enter those waters, that pool, you know, that's the shallow end of the pool. I would call this passive level 3 because it's sort of just happening. But you can really like take control, and you can really squeeze more out of these use cases, even a note taker. And I want to show you what that looks like, because as I said, in level 3, there's many options. And once you move from passive to actively taking control of what these agents do for you, because that's the meeting note taker really is an agent, very basic one, but it is. That's where you get a multiplication of value. It's not just a summary, right? Think about it. The summary is not even personalized, but I'm not even going to like talk about the personalization point. We've covered that so much over the past 3 days. You can imagine that, you know, if you tell it about yourself, the summaries are going to be more customized, personalized, sure. But beyond that, think about this. These meeting note takers, what do they do by default? They look at one transcript. Is that the ideal way to operate? Now, what if you take control of your note taker? What if your goal is to make it like 3 times as useful? Well, one thing you could consider is, instead of giving it one transcript, what if you gave it the last 10 transcripts? What if this is a weekly meeting you have with, I don't know, a collaborator, your team, or whatever, and you've been meeting every week for the past 2 months? Why is it basing it off one transcript? I'll tell you why. Because they're trying to, you know, sell you a $10 a month subscription, and they don't want to 10x their price of what they're doing on the back end. So they keep it simple. If you set it up yourself, you can easily say, okay, instead of one transcript, take the last 10. And it doesn't end there, right? Obviously, it would do better if it had the context of the last 10 meetings, right? But you can do more. For example, you can start taking the stuff that you established at level 2. I told you it's about finding use cases. It's about personalizing it. It's about taking the different things you do with AI, doing the context sandwich around it. You could take that and work with the transcript. What I mean by this, for example, you could tell your agent that, hey, every time I have a meeting, I want you to take the transcript, and I want you to flag items that are misaligned with my business roadmap. Now, this does imply that you turned your business roadmap into a text document and you added it, right? But you set that up once, and then every time you have a meeting, you can just link it to Zoom, and it's like, okay, let me check Igor's business roadmap, let me now flag all the items that are misaligned, stuff that we've been working on that is completely off topic. And let me tell you, I'm like an idea guy. I like meander and I can free flow for like half an hour into directions that are totally misaligned with the business roadmap, just because I feel like it. This keeps me accountable. After every meeting, it's like, Igor, this was great, but 40% of the meeting you guys spent on stuff that is actually not on track. And the deadline for this event is coming closer, so you should really focus in. And then it can go even further than that. But does that make sense so far? Is this making sense? You know, if you just let it do its thing, it's going to do the bare minimum. If you take control, it multiplies its output, right? Of course it's better with more context. Of course it's better with 10 transcripts. Of course it's better if you link it to your other stuff, but you got to do that yourself. So this is active level 3. This is where you've taught the agent what to do. And now let me show you this in the most simple terms possible, how you could do that for pretty much any use case. Now, as I told you, the thing that makes Alfredo effective and the difference between people who actually achieve productivity at level 3, not just following some tutorial or some training where it's like, okay, I did it, I set it up, and then 1 month later you look back and you're like, okay, I'm back to where I was because, you know, I implemented it, but I'm not actually using it. What we want is results. We're looking for time saved here, right? And those results, well, they come with the same formula as going from 1 to 2 is. It's, again, the context sandwich. So you can think of it as, yes, you need Alfredo, but Alfredo also needs, you know, isn't this just the best thing ever? Let's go. I mean, that's a great, but if you're curious, the new ChatGPT image model made this that came out on Tuesday. It's so good. I just gave it an image of Alfredo and the dog, and I was like, I want him to like adore this dog, and it did it. So fun. But there's a teaching moment here, I promise, because the thing that makes Alfredo work at level 3 is, again, the sandwich. So what does it look like concretely? Remember the sandwich? Super quick recap. Usually you tell AI what you do. Maybe you give it a bit of extra context, right? Okay, here's what I need. Now, hey, I can actually point. Look at that. That's kind of fun. Usually you do this, right? Love this. Now, I'm telling you to also express who you are and what your goals are and what your standards are. We've been talking about this for days, right? I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but you do this. But then also tell it what good looks like. So in the case of the meeting transcript, you could maybe do something like, give me 5 bullet points. I don't want a multi-page document. I just want the high level, whatever. I'll have more examples here in a second, but basically, it's the meeting sandwich at level 2. This is how you go from level 1 to level 2, right? You give it what you need, and then you sandwich it with this stuff. Now, when we take the meeting example that I showed you, yes, at level, at the bottom area, here's what good looks like. You could tell it, you know, give me short bullet points. With your identity, you could outline exactly what your identity is. And then maybe the middle part would look something like this. You would say, look at the last 3 meeting transcripts, or look at the last 10 meeting transcripts, and give me a list of all action items. Maybe that's what you want every time. And maybe you want that to run once a day to be updated. Or maybe you want it to run after each meeting. So after each meeting, it looks at the existing list and it adds new action items, right? Because there's a little bit of memory there. So this is it working by itself. All of a sudden, it kind of starts to self-manage. And this is, let me tell you, this is really where AI gets fun. It turns from like, oh my God, like there's so much going on and stuff. Really, this switch, but you have to earn the switch. I think I've made this point by now, but this switch from level 2 to level 3 is where it gets so fun. Because once you move to level 3, you're giving more and more control to the AI. And you basically let Alfredo decide what needs to be done. Essentially, you set it free. Studio. Yes, you set it free. I love that sound effect. I use it in the trainings way too often. I'm like, freedom. Okay. But this only works because you trained your agent, right? You understand that by now. So here's the shift in practice, right? So if we're doing this use case, you start here. Here's who I am. Here's what I need. Here's what good looks like. If we move to the next level, all of a sudden, Alfredo already knows who you are, right? Because you set that up. You did the work at level 2. Beyond that, he can also, and this is the fun part, I promised you. He also starts knowing what you need. Okay, I have an example here. But not just that, it also starts knowing what good looks like. And all of a sudden, you know, it's freedom. It's you give it the control because it has the context and you have the trust in it. You build the trust with it over time. So what does this look like in practice? With the meeting example that I just showed you, yeah? So let's say a meeting finishes, there's a new transcript, and Alfredo makes suggestions. Because you set Alfredo to look at every meeting transcript, and you told him, hey, I want some ideas on what you could do for me after a meeting, right? There's a lot of things AI can do. You don't have to figure all of it out on your own. Once you get to a certain level, it's like, Alfredo, what could I do, right? So one example of the things that Alfredo tells me regularly after my meetings is, hey, Igor, I could research these 2 topics that came up for you. Do you want me to go deeper and prepare a research document for you? Or he says, hey, Igor, I saw there's like 2 obvious meetings from that meeting. Should I add them to your calendar? Now, if you want it, yes, you could set it up in a way where you give it permissions and it just appears in your calendar. I like to retain that final kind of say. I want him to make suggestions rather than to completely run things. But he could do that if you want. But it's just amazing, you know? So we finish meetings and we're like, hey, we should meet tomorrow at 6 p.m. And I know that I now don't have to go over to Google Calendar and set that meeting and set an invite, because it already has the details of the meeting. It already has the email of the participants. And when it's 2 of us and I say we should meet tomorrow, it's going to make a suggestion. Igor, like, should I add that meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m.? And at the end of the day, I'm just like, yeah, cool, done, easy, right? So it becomes literally like a person working for you. And I mean that. And this stuff, let me tell you, 6 months ago, we weren't there. We were not there. 1 year, forget about it. All experiments. Right now, it's starting to work. And I'm showing you these use cases that work now. But here, we're going to talk about one more really good one. But yeah, it's this difference between 2 and 3, honestly. And as I talk about this meeting use case, it's a big one that works now. Like this, people can make this work now, and we covered that in the bootcamp. But I want to show you one more which kind of pushes things, because in AI, usually like things come up that are really like esoteric and out there. And then over time, if it's something useful, people figure it out, and it just becomes doable. So this is one of those more esoteric one where we experimented a bunch to get it work, but it did work, and it did real work for me. So let me show you how Alfredo actually helped on our YouTube channel. And this is real because, I mean, I was in a tough spot a few months ago. Let me tell you, this was, what was it, like 2 months ago or something now? I had my tonsils removed. And I don't know, maybe some of you had that operation, that surgery as a kid. But as an adult, that's like, by the way, I'm 32. I know I don't look like it, but I'm 32. And it's a serious thing. Like I couldn't speak for like 2 weeks. I was completely out for like 10 days. It was a serious surgery. And that's fine. I can, bear that load and I can take that. But what wasn't fine is the fact that I've been uploading to our YouTube channel for the past 5 years now, every week. I didn't miss a beat. I don't care if it was Christmas. I was there uploading. Now, this was clearly going to be a week that I miss, right? Now, you could say, like, Igor, you could just prepare a video and, like, lay on the couch and relax for a bit. True, except, it's AI. It keeps moving. And every Friday, we upload a video on the new releases. So I could not pre-record that. It's literally about the stuff that comes out on Wednesday and we upload it Friday. So how did I do this? Well, you might have already guessed it, but this is where having an agent comes in. In this case, I told him what I wanted to do, right? This was an exceptional situation. I don't have like a regular task running, like with the meetings, but this is like a one-time thing where I was like, okay, I want you to write me a full video script in my voice about the newest releases, right? So all I had to do is pre-record a short intro in the beginning where I prepared, the audience for like, hey, this video is going to be taken over by AI, Igor. I'm going to have a surgery, but he's going to take good care of you. And Alfredo took it from there. Now, a few days later, the news came out, just like every single week, an avalanche of AI news came out, and Alfredo did the news research. I showed you that on day 1. He decided on the topics because he had my taste profile. I showed you that on day 1 too. I, gave him all these decisions, showed him what good looked like. So he already had that set. That system was in place. But then he went beyond that. He wrote a structured script in my voice, right? He did that too. And once I signed off on the script, he even generated the video of AI Igor presenting. Now, there's specific tools that do these things, and given this is, I'm telling you, this is a bit more on the kind of frontier of like experimenting and just trying stuff that should not work, but we made it work. But all of this worked because I trained him on the context sandwich. He knows me, and he knows what good looks like. Concretely, in this situation, what good looks like was giving him the past 20 transcripts of my YouTube videos. So the same thing that the meeting note takers do with your meetings, I did with my YouTube videos. I just pulled the last 20 videos as a transcript, and I gave it to Alfredo. I was like, hey, here's what good literally looks like. I've done this so many times. Just look at the transcript. This is how I speak. This is how I sound. This is how we structure things. It has the decision patterns, all of that. So ultimately, while I was on the sofa eating ice cream and recovering from the surgery, not being able to speak, quick AI-generated image of me doing that, because why not? And this video was posted, and I just want to show it to you now. It's like 30 seconds. It's a 30-second clip from the video. Let's go. It's real Igor introing AI Igor. Let's show the clip.
What we're doing this week is we're going to still do the news episode. I'm going to still work on it, but because I'm not allowed to speak, we're going to have AI Igor, this guy, hello there, present the episode to you. The writing still comes from me. I just wanted to let you know that this is a one-time thing, and I hope you enjoy this AI-powered experiment. Let's begin. We've got a new feature on Canva called Magic Layers that lets you turn any image into easily editable layers. This is an incredibly powerful tool if you're doing any kind of design work, like creating social media posts or YouTube thumbnails. And since Canva is primarily used by designers, it's a perfect fit for the platform.
What you think? Not bad, honestly. I mean, if I dare say so myself, the real deal is better, but it's pretty good. It certainly sounds really good. I think the look is maybe a little robotic, but it sounds good. And this video went live, let me tell you. And I always had this pre-assumption, like, these AI avatars are never going to work on YouTube But if I set up the video saying that, admitting that it's AI Igor, I think it worked really well. The audience loved it. It got real views, real engagement. And this is what level 3 is about. It's not just about time anymore. It's not just about getting back your time. Sure, there's so many things at level 3 that can get your time back, but sometimes it's doing things that were impossible before, right? All of these, you saw it right there. All of that coming together just wasn't possible before. So even if you're having a surgery or are trying to take a week off, whatever it might be, your agent is getting things done for you. And if he's not doing it automatically, you can ask him to, right? Because he just gets all these capabilities. I hope that makes sense, because it's a whole new world, right? This is what we're talking about, technological revolution. Like these 2 use cases, it's insane. We couldn't have done that a while ago. And I want to be honest with you about something. None of this stuff, none of this AI fluency you're seeing here, different speakers, different perspectives, different words for the same concepts, really. Like, none of this happens immediately. This is not, it's not a super deep skill, but it's also not something you acquire in a few hours. It takes a little bit of time, and especially takes you being involved. All the best AI use cases are always personal. And guess what? Like, there's only one of you. I can't do that for you, so we can do it together, but you can't, you understand? So, look, this process to AI fluency, this building the skill, it all starts with the same thing on day 1. It starts with 3 lines, the context sandwich. That's where you start. That's how you set up your use cases. That's where Alfredo began, as I told you. Literally, that's where he began. Just mapped up my use cases, sandwiched them, and built a library of them, and then you move further. But then I taught him my voice, my standards. I started trusting him with real work, one step at a time. These examples didn't spawn overnight, but they're there, and I can summon them like this now. And that's the exact sequence we built for you inside of the bootcamp. Literally, it's not us conjuring something up. It's my real journey of building this all the way to Alfredo level, packaged so you can do it in 6 weeks instead of a year, right? And at this point, you're like, okay, get it. You can see it. You can see Alfredo. You can see some of this stuff. I mean, that video is real. It's live on the internet. But there's probably a part of you that is like, yeah, I don't know, seems like a lot, right? You're probably talking yourself out of it a little bit, and I get it. I literally lived with that voice for like 20 years of my life, always like in my ear, ooh, new country, new school, no, new friends, right? No friends, actually. That voice was always like, hey, Igor, maybe you should play it safe. Don't try this. What if you break something? What if you break something? It kept coming up over and over again. But I wouldn't be here in front of you, partners with Dean and Tony, if I listened to that voice over and over again. Sure, you can acknowledge it's there, but don't listen to it, right? Here's what I want you to notice as we kind of like wrap up. You're here on day 3, right? That's a big difference from a lot of people who come in day 1, they peek in and they're like, oh, cool, life's happening, different priorities. You made this a priority already. You didn't leave after day 1. You came back again and again. You tried the context sandwich, hopefully, and you're still hungry for more. That's not behavior of somebody who plays it safe. That's the behavior of somebody who doesn't stop just because it's new. And that's why I love this room right now, because you guys are pushing it. You're pushing yourself. So don't let it stop you. Don't let anything stop you. But when it comes to AI fluency, I hope you get it now. I hope you understand the levels, what they look like, both in theory and in practice. And if you want, I'm here for you. Let's figure this one out together, because we can. All right?
Igor, so good. So good. So good. Let Igor hear you in the chat, everybody. Who wants an Alfredo? That's what I want to know. So good. So good. Especially because I'm Italian. I like that. It's so funny. Each of us at our company, at the AI Advantage company, we all named our agents Italian. Mine's Marco. So it's pretty awesome. Listen, Igor just showed you what's possible when you use the context sandwich. I love that. I love that. To build a level 3 agent you can trust to work for you. And it's within your reach. It's not as far out as you think. You just got to follow the process. And like Rachel said, the future is now. Listen, we loved our last boot camp. Thank you for so many of you who were a part of it. We could not teach this 6 months ago because you really had to be a coder. You had to understand development. Those days are gone. And it's here, and it's right now, and it's what's possible. And that's why Igor, can't you tell that guy's nature? Do you see why when I interviewed him, I knew he had to be our partner? He's such a good man, and he's a good man behind the scenes. He shares the same values that Tony and I do to serve. And we're so committed to help you get an agent to free your time for the human things that only you can do. And that's why workshop number 5 is completely dedicated to building your version, your first version of Alfredo. It'll continue to get smarter and plugged in. And we built in security protocols so you know exactly what to do to play it safe. Now, before we have Tony close this event in style, you're going to be so stoked. I can't wait to watch them myself. I want to do something special. Like I mentioned yesterday, over the past year, both of us, Tony and I both have, but Tony sat down with some extraordinary minds, some of the greatest minds on this planet. Not just successful people, but people who have helped shape the modern world. And he asked them the same question: how are you using AI? The answers blew us away. And that's why we thought it was really important that you saw some of these interviews. We've done so many of them. They're behind the scene. They're locked in our vaults. These were done specifically so we could be better at what we do. Yesterday, you saw that little clip from Ray Dalio, who built a $150 billion empire, who's created a digital twin, a clone. Today, I want you to see this clip from Mark Benioff. Now, he's the founder of Salesforce. He didn't just build a $186 billion company. He invented cloud computing. Before him, you had to have big servers and computers in your office. He invented cloud computing. He changed how every business on earth operates. And right now, he's at the absolute front of everything AI and the AI revolution. You're also going to learn from Ray Kurzweil. This is the man who predicted the future of technology for decades with incredible accuracy. In fact, 147 documented predictions with 86% accuracy, even the year that AI would be as smart as it is. From smartphones to AI to the internet explosion, this guy decoded and figured it out all in advance. Tony loved this interview. But here's what I want you to share. 2 quick clips. They're going to come up, and then we'll get to Mr. Tony Robbins. But here's what I want you to pay attention to as you watch these clips. Because Tony and I noticed something immediately. Despite their differences, finances, technology, software, every single one of them said the same thing. They built a version of what you're building. Some call it a digital twin, a clone, now agents. They trained an AI partner to know them. And this is the part that's really cool. Ray did it. Mark did it. Ray Kurzweil did it. The most important part is for you to see is for the first time in history, this is the part that I want you to really, really take in. You have the same access they do. Not the billion-dollar version, the same version. That's what makes AI, to us, the great equalizer. The playing field has never been more level to start, to scale, and to live into who you're meant to be. So let's watch this first. Oh my God, I see we're at 4.6 million hours saved. I'll give it up for you guys. So freaking awesome. So freaking awesome. All right, let's watch it. Don't miss this. If you got to run to the restroom, run quick. You don't want to miss this. Let's play this quick clip of Mark Benioff and Tony Robbins doing an interview. And put in the chat what you're learning.
What would you say, or if they were right now said, okay, the bus has left the station, the train has left the station, they know AI is moving, and a lot of them, as I said, have gotten overwhelmed. When you interview them, they're stressed or they're dabbling with a bunch of things. If you were going to give them advice, what would be 3 kind of non-negotiable decisions or actions you tell them to take immediately to get them moving forward, where they really can immerse themselves and understand how to take advantage of this once-in-a-generation movement that's happening right now?
Well, this is going to be a golden moment for small and medium business. And I already see that in my own business, that small and medium companies are going to look a lot more like large companies because they're going to be extended by the technology. They're going to be somewhat indistinguishable. So all of a sudden, small and medium companies can do a lot more. So where they could maybe only do so much because they were only limited by the number of employees they've had, now they can be unlimited. So what would you do if you were completely unlimited? What would you do with your company if you had an infinite number of employees? Where would you go in your whole career if nothing was preventing you from being successful by the traditional human resources?
Yes.
So that idea that we can now have this infinite resource available to us, this can really extend us. Now, as I've mentioned now 3 or 4 times, there are limits to what the technology can do, but it is pretty awesome. And you can see it in one area, software engineering, that software engineers are augmented by these new types of tools that are making them more productive. maybe they used to have to go to an ad agency. Maybe it was difficult to test multiple things. Now, all of those things where you had limits are unlimited, and you have this whole creative capability all in front of you. This is really awesome. So yes, you're gonna be able to augment sales. I kind of gave you the example that we're doing that. You're gonna be able to augment service. You're gonna be able to augment your marketing emails. Well, your whole creative side as well. Probably in every single one of your business processes, it's going to be able to be transformed or changed or enhanced in some material way over the next several years. And you're going to have lots of great solutions. And there's going to be great possibilities that, are one coming at you right after the next. And you're going to have to get used to feeling overwhelmed. There's no way that anybody is totally comfortable right now. Anybody who's totally comfortable right now, something is really wrong. So this is the moment to go, oh yeah, everyone is feeling that way. If you're not feeling that way, oh, whoa, you probably have a much bigger issue, and it's time to get shaken up a little bit, because this is your moment. This is your moment.
So I'm wondering for you, because you're in the midst of this is your business anyway, in your own life. I look at AI as something that saves time, which is the most valuable thing on earth, and it gives leverage for impact. Where do you personally use AI to save yourself time or leverage yourself or leverage the impact of what you're going after?
Well, I'll just tell you a really cool story, which is, I just finished Dreamforce, and you've been to Dreamforce quite a few times. Well, this was our biggest and most exciting Dreamforce ever. It was 55,000 people in town in San Francisco, totally sold out, amazing, really safe, no safety incidents. It was really cool. And we're launching the Agentic Enterprise, and so people would show up at Moscone Center and it said, welcome to the Agentic Enterprise. Humans and agents are now working together. And we had Laura Alber there from Williams-Sonoma, and Michael Dell was there talking about he has agents running his supply chain. And we had this incredible CIO from Pepsi, Athena. She's amazing, where she's automating all these small and medium businesses all over the world using our platforms, millions of small and medium businesses, which is amazing. And we had the team from Pandora, including the CEO, the jewelry company with 6,000 jewelry stores, on how they're augmenting their commerce and their service. It was really awesome. Anyway, I have to deliver a keynote, as you know, and I have to do my keynote, and it's like, it's a couple hours, and it's very stressful for me, and I'm getting ready to do my keynote. So I have to practice my launch line. What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? What's my competitive differentiation? How am I positioning the company? How am I motivating people? So Tony, this year I did it differently. And what I did was I had one of these large language models on my phone. And as I left my office and drove home every day, I put it on just its speaking mode and put it right next to me. And I would just say to it, now, okay, give me the launch line again. and I would say, and then it would give you I say, now, is that differentiated against my competitor? And what could I do to make it even more exciting? How could I make it more motivational? Yes. Where could it go really wrong? What's my liability? How could I close this up? How do I tighten it? And I would be working with this thing each and every day. And I'd never done that before, because, the latency on the audio models, well, they're just not as good as they are now. The latency is so low that you can really talk to it. Like when you talk to Gemini or you talk to ChatGPT or any of these models, it's talking right back to you. And we've even taken that technology and built it into Salesforce so that you can call your customer service and the agent is talking right back to you, it sounds almost like a human being. It's not quite, of course. Maybe one of the reasons, it always say something like, "Oh, this is amazing," or "It's so positive." These things are the most positive. They're really positive. They've been to 1,000 date with destinies.
The stupidest idea, boy. You are so smart. That is so incredible.
Yeah. And I'm going, yes, so great. But I'm just talking to it, and it's funny, Tony, because I would say for the last 3 years, we use our V2 Mom process to run our company. That is, at the beginning of every year, I'm about to start this process right now. I really write down the 5 core elements of my business plan at Salesforce. What do I really want? What is really important to me in priority? How am I going to get those things? What are my to-do list in priority and my budget for each one of those things?
Yeah.
What is preventing me from having what I really want? And finally, how will I know that it's successful? How will I know that I really have it? These are these 5 elements, the V2 Mom: vision, values, methods, obstacles, measures. And for the last 3 years, the way I've done it is I've written it down and then I feed it to a large language model and I say, hey, is this competitive? Is this differentiated? Is this compelling? And I've been shocked that it always finds one thing that I've completely missed.
That's very cool.
It knows a lot about our competitors in the software industry because the competitors have put all their business plans into these things for some reason. So all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, how does it know so much about this competitor? I won't tell you which one. One specifically it knows everything about. And I'm like, how could it possibly know all of these things? And I'm like, well, I'm just benefiting from that knowledge that it has. And then I can shape it. But then I always know I have to get my hand in to really to close it up and tighten it up.
Look at you guys rocking out. Adriana and Elizabeth and Cynthia. What's up, Crystal? All right. So did you catch that? The main part of that is Mark built a digital twin. He built a clone. And he's able to use that to save time, to do better, to go back and forth, to debate with, right? And that's a great one, too, you learn as you go, is once you start using it, you could debate with it, find your own weaknesses. He uses it to sharpen his thinking and trust, and it's so cool because it's exactly what we're learning. And it is, again, I'm repeating myself, the great equalizer. It's why we're so excited. Okay, this next clip is like 2 minutes long. It's really quick of a private interview Tony did with Ray Kurzweil. This is a man that's, he's a legend in the technology space. We're going to play 2 minutes. We come back, we'll have Mr. Tony Robbins. Put any comments that you see as you're learning. Let's play the clip.
And AI really is, it feels like to me, and I don't know if it does to you, it's the number one equalizer because now there's a level of intelligence available to anyone on Earth, right?
It's pretty extraordinary. We've actually, we've created these tools that actually can create structured knowledge just like our brain does. But once it can do that, it can do that much more quickly.
Yes.
And so in 30 seconds, it can do what would take us many hours or days to do.
Yes. But if you're talking to the average person right now and you're saying the world's going to change in the next 36 months to 10 years, but really the next 36 months is going to have a huge amount of change between AI, getting to AGI, getting to robotics, and it's going to keep going.
And AGI is already pretty fantastic. No human being could compete with that.
Yes, it's pretty wild. Where do you see job displacement in this area? Recently there's been a lot of talk about 100,000 jobs of the last 2 years have disappeared. A lot's been blamed on AI. Some people say it's not really AI. Of course, it's going to create new jobs, but the big difference, obviously, is how fast this will happen. What do you do in that 3 to 10 year period when there's so much disruption so fast? Long term, it's pretty obvious it'll be very good. What do you think we do as a society to deal with that? In other words, when AIs can do things better than any human, then what do we do with the humans?
What's going to happen with AI is it's going to create tremendous wealth, and the society is going to become much, much more wealthy. If you look at the average amount of income that one person has,
yes,
is multiplied by 10 in constant dollars.
Right, you're dealing with inflation; it's still constant a little bit. Yeah,
as multiplied by 10 over the last 100 years. So that's what's happened from automation in general.
Yes.
AI is going to bring tremendous amount of automation, so it's going to keep going. So there's going to be a lot of wealth. If you consider at a lot of that time, if you lost your job, it wasn't just a matter of losing your purpose. You were not able to live.
Feed your family.
You could not buy food. You couldn't have a housing. You had nothing. You would be desperate. You probably wouldn't live.
Yep.
And if you ask people, okay, would you like to go back? The answer will be no, because they're constantly using it and being creative with it, which they otherwise couldn't do.
All right. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to crank up the energy because when Tony comes out, those that know him, he's going to take the energy up to a whole nother level. So I hope you're ready to crank it up a little bit. For those of you new, just meeting us during this event, you're like, what is wrong with these guys with this jumping around and the music? It's Tony's philosophy, and it works. When you have a little more fun, a little more noise, a little more interactive, when you have energy, the training sticks. But I really want you to take just 2 seconds here and let sink in what Ray just shared. Over the last 100 years, technology has 10x'd our income, and it's doubled our lifespan. It's given everyday people access to, in the old days, what only the wealthy or the kings had access to. And every single time, hear me this, every single time new technology arrived, electricity, the internet, smartphones, people are scared and they resisted. That's just natural. They thought it would make things worse. And every single time, it made life better for the people who embraced it. History. We started that on day one with Zach sharing that. AI is just that next wave. And Ray, he's the man behind this 20 years of predicting everything right on point. This has the opportunity to make you more successful, give you more time, and give you that better life. Maybe, I know I said this for the first time in history, we really do have a level playing field. Now, there was one person who sat across from all these interviews, asked some really great questions, some hard ones, who pulled the insights that nobody else could get. And what he learned from those conversations, combined with almost 50 years of helping people transform their lives, now he wants to share that with you right now. This is how we close the event. Not with a tactic, with something deeper. Tony wants to share the one strategy that every single person he's ever studied, from billionaires to everyday people, use to change their life, and they have it in common. The thing that makes all of this work. And I promise you, it's going to surprise you. So, are you guys ready to end strong? Are you guys ready to end strong? Let's bring up the energy. Let's bring up some music. Let's get some movement in our bodies. And welcome to the stage my partner, my dear friend from our East Coast studio, Tony Robbins.
How we all doing out there? Christopher Parker, Tammy Winters, how you doing, Craig Wood, Simone Smith, how you all doing out there? Whoa! Yes! How you all doing? Great energy. Great energy. Good to see you all. Wow. We're on day 3 now. First of all, thank you. I just want to reach out across the miles to you all and say thank you, especially to Dean. Dean's worked his tail off to make this happen for you guys. We've worked on it together, but he's really given his all. We have a big hand for Dean Graziosi, everybody. Of you have already learned some great insights that you know can save you some time, potentially give you some of the, yeah, give me some energy out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you've already got some good tools that can help your business. I also want to make sure I don't fail to thank all of the speakers we've had. We've got a few more here, but I especially want to thank a couple of my dear friends. You got to hear from, Ray Kurzweil, who, it was only a brief part of the interview we just did a few days ago, but this is the guy that has been the most accurate forecaster in human history. In 1990, he made 64, I think, announcements of what was going to happen, including that by 2029, we'd have artificial general intelligence. And right now, it looks like he was slightly conservative. Everybody made it up. They all said it was insane. Literally the most effective guy. If you use digital music in any way, digital documents, he created them all. He's an absolute genius. And so to hear him say that, by the way, they didn't show that part of the interview, I said, what are you using every day for? How do you use it? And he said, well, I have my digital twin, and I'm pouring everything into him, and he and I make decisions, and he gives me ideas. It's fantastic. And then you got a chance to meet briefly also, Ray Dalio. So again, here is the most successful hedge fund investor in the history of the world. They call him the Da Vinci of investing. In 2008, when everybody lost money, he made money. I mean, it's just, I've known Ray now for about, 15 years. He's a total genius. He was worth over $20 billion. What does he do? He has a digital twin. And then when I was with Mark Benioff, as you just saw, I interviewed him, and you got to see, he talked about everything's changed because while he's driving his car, he's got a coach there who knows more than he does, but he's poured himself into it. So I think the reason we did this week is so that you can have this incredible advantage. I'm so passionate about it, that can change everything in your life, and it's only get better and better and better. That's what this is all about. And learning just simply how quickly you can make that happen today. But none of this matters at all if you don't think about one thing, which is like, what is this all about? What is this really? Is this really about AI? Is it really about technology? No. This whole course is to bring you back to the most important thing in life, which is to get you to be a creator. Remember I talked to you about this on the first day. It's like all the stress people have, and everybody's talking about how stressed they are all the time. Most of that stress comes from the fact that you're trying to manage something, trying to handle it, trying to deal with it, trying to make a living, try to, get your kids to a certain way, try to make it through the day. Managing feels horrible. Managing produces stress. But as I said on the first day we're together, I want to remind you, we were all created by something. I'm not telling you what to believe in that area, but something created us. And that something gave us a gift, which is the ability to create. And when you start creating life on your terms, when you start creating love or joy or free time or time to think or to create something new or build something in your business, the feeling of creation is like nothing else on earth. And there is no stress in creation. And you and I together are living in a time right now where at the beginning of the beginning of an explosion of tools that can allow you and I to do things we never dreamed of doing. Listen, most people, and I'm sure you've heard it today, they're one extreme to another. They think AI is the greatest thing that's ever lived, and guess what? We're all going to be rich and never have to work again, and it's all be kumbaya. And there are people saying, no, it's going to kill us all and destroy us all. It's Terminator. Well, obviously, as I said the other day, the truth is somewhere in the middle there. But you don't want to let fear stop you from taking advantage of the greatest opportunities of your entire life, an opportunity to be at the beginning of a new age. And that new age is not an information age. It's an age of intelligence. It's an age where you can leverage things. It's an age where you can do things in minutes that used to take you months. It's an age where you can have someone who works for you 24 hours a day who works for you for basically the cost of the electricity. It's pretty amazing. Small businesses like Mark just talked about, small, medium-sized businesses can play against big businesses now because there's no limit. They can have these agencies, assistants, and get the job done. So what's going to determine whether you become the creator of your life or keep doing what you're doing? It's not information. Like you've got a lot of information this couple days you've had with us here, just a few hours a day, but man, we've had some incredible speakers sharing some great insights, and I'm sure you've gotten a lot out of it. But there's one force, there's one fuel, there's one master skill that if you don't use it, all this goes to waste. And what is it? And that's what I'm here to talk to you about briefly today. It's the power of decision. Decisions, not your conditions, determine the quality of your life. People can have the same problems, challenges. One person decides to give up, somebody else decides to find a way, and they do. If there is no way, they make the way. Decisions are what have changed your life. If you look back on your life today and say, why am I where I am? Things you're happy with, things you're not happy with. If you think back, I bet you can find something you decided 5, 10, 15 years ago, 2 years ago, that if you would have made a different decision, your life would be totally different. Can you think of that? How many of you can think of a decision you made in the last 5 or 10 years where you could say, if I made a different decision than that, I'd be in a different relationship, or have a different career, or I'd be living in a different place? How many can relate? Make a little noise if you can relate out there, right? So I think most of us forget the power of decision. We forget what's inside of us. And so when we go to an environment like this or any environment and we learn things, even things that we think are really valuable, we go, yeah, that's really great. And we write it down maybe or remember it. But information doesn't change your life, right? Action does. And all actions are fathered or mothered by a decision. Think about it. If you let your learning lead to knowledge, you become a fool. Jim Rohn, my teacher, used to say, if you let your learning lead to knowledge, you become a fool. Let your learning lead to action, and you'll become wealthy. And he didn't mean just money wealthy. He mean you'll be rich in joy and happiness and family and finance. And so it's been my watchword. I'm a man of action. Unlimited Power, my very first book when I was 24, was all about how to get yourself to take action. Because without that, nothing else matters. But the tool of getting that action is that decision-making tool. And so, interestingly enough, the word decision, what does it mean? Decision in Latin means to cut off from. When you make a decision, you cut off anything except what you've committed to. It's not stating a preference like, oh, I really should get into AI, or I'm going to use it a little bit more. It's like, no, I'm going to get this tool, and I'm going to get it to serve me in my life. I'm going to get it to free me. I'm going to free up time and energy and joy in my life, and I'm going to be able to learn more rapidly. I'm going to have more fun than I've ever had before. But that requires commitment, a deciding that says, I'm pushing everything aside. I'm going to do this. And we're doing it with you. You can do it in 6 weeks for an hour and a half, like a week, and really get yourself where you want to be. But then you'll have this partner for the rest of your life. So deciding is it, and most people never make the decision. I remember in my life, if there's one skill that has made me go from a guy that was struggling to survive to be able to help millions of people, be able to feed billions of meals, be able to have incredible economic freedom for myself and for my family, and to be able to contribute accordingly, all of that comes down to this first component. Because I know so many people that were in the same classes as me, had the same information as me, but they never took action because they never decided. Again, when I say decide, I mean commit and resolve. There's nothing going to stop you. Cutting off anything that holds you back. Only focused on what you're going to do. It doesn't have to be big decisions. Little decisions stacked together to take us where we want to go. But if you'll make the big decisions, it happens even faster. I can remember I went to the U.S. Army at one point, and I got a chance to work with this general, and I was like, how am I going to get him to want to do this? So I made a decision. Before I walked in, I'm walking out with this deal. And everybody said it's not going to happen. But so I went to him, and I thought, I'm going to make an irresistible offer. I said, General, I can take any training program you do in the entire Army. I'll cut the training time in half, and I don't care what it is. I'll cut it in half, and I'll increase the competency. He said, you're crazy. I said, no, I'm expensive. We negotiated, right? And so I got this deal where I would get nothing if I didn't follow through. And because I had everything on the line, I couldn't turn back. I pulled it off. I remember working with Serena Williams. I mean, when her sister got killed and she had been playing poorly anyway, and now she couldn't get herself on the court. And like everybody knows I want to work with her. Sometimes it's really good to have no way out. It's like, I've got to deliver for her. If I don't, everyone in the world's going to know. And sure enough, I turned around, got her on the court, she won. And then I got all this feedback, expanded my brand, right? But what I'm trying to say is sometimes everybody wants to make a decision when they're comfortable. But the real decisions change your life are the things that are uncomfortable, but you get yourself to do it anyway. And that's where, when there's no net and you push yourself, it's like, I always tell people, if you want to take the island, burn the boats, right? Because if there's a way out, I guarantee you, your brain will look for a way out and it'll find the way out. That's just the way human beings operate. And so the question is, why don't people decide? Well, the biggest reason is they just don't want to fail. I mean, all of us have this fear that if I fail, then what does it mean? And it's like, I don't care who you deal with. I don't care if it's like, I've dealt with presidents of countries, presidents of companies, individuals, kids. Almost everybody has this fear that like, I don't want to fail, so I'm going to make the perfect decision. And there are no perfect decisions. It's like a lot of people, I'll tell you the phrase you don't want to use. People say this all the time. They say, well, I'm not ready yet. And I remember early in my career, I would do that, and I went nowhere. And there's one day where I finally said to myself, this is BS, man. I'm just like, if I say I'm not ready, that's when I'm ready. I made this promise. When I say I'm not ready and I make myself do something, I'll find the answer. Jim Rohn, once again, taught me this philosophy of stretching. He said, if you ever say to yourself, I can't, then tell yourself you must and do it now. And I said, if you can't, you must. That means if I can't jump off a cliff, then I must. He said, no, don't be stupid. Right? He said, but what you should consider is like, if there's something I need to do that if I did it, I'd be a better person, I'd be stronger, I'd be wiser, I'd be wealthier, I could make a difference more, I could help my family. If there's something I can learn to do that, and I say, well, I just can't. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the energy, I don't have the strength, I'm too tired. Then you say, I must, and you do it. And, some people said to him, I remember one guy said to him, well, that's not a very safe way of living, just if I can't, then I must. He goes, no, if you want safety, go to prison. If you want a life, if you want freedom, you got to step up. So if you want to change, fear is natural. Like I said, I've worked with prime ministers, kings, queens, incredible athletes, Academy Award winners, average people, prisoners, children, teachers, moms. We all have the fear that we're not going to be enough. It's the deepest fear in all human beings, that we're not going to be smart enough, pretty enough, beautiful enough, intelligent enough, funny enough, rich enough, whatever enough, young enough, old enough, whatever it is, for something that matters. It is the natural human fear to feel not enough, and that fear leads to the fear that if I'm not enough, I won't be loved. And love is the oxygen of life. So the only way through a fear is to act through it. You've got to think about it. Courage does not mean that you're not afraid. Courage means you're afraid and you do it anyway. And it becomes a habit of how you go about things. And so what I try to get people to understand is if you want to have an extraordinary life, if you want a truly successful life at a level that's more than you've dreamed of in the past, then you've got to be willing to take action. And you've got to make the decisions to make that happen. And I'll tell you something else. It's like you're trying to make the wrong decision or make the perfect decision. There is no perfect decision. You got to make the decision that moves you forward. And I think, one way to think about it is, I remember, I don't know how many of you have read the book Think and Grow Rich. How many of you out there read that book? When I was like 17, it was one of the first. And I think, one way to think about it is, I remember, I don't know how many of you have read the book Think and Grow Rich. How many of you out there read that book? When I was like 17, it was one of the first books I read when I was 17 years old. And if you haven't read it, it's a classic. You got to read it. But I remember in the book, there's an entire chapter on decisions. And it talks about it's the most important thing. And it said a principle I never forgot. It said, all the studies show successful people make decisions rapidly and change them slowly, if at all. And people that fail make decisions very slowly and they change them very quickly, right? It's like go into your gut, push yourself forward. And then the question people say is like, well, how do I get myself to decide? I'm not good at decision making. Well, here's your answer. Make more decisions more quickly. It's like, have you ever been around somebody that they can't even decide, like, you go to dinner with somebody and everybody else decided and they're still, and the waiter or waitress is like, losing their stuff inside and they still can't decide. Who knows what I'm talking about? Everybody with somebody like that, right? And then you look at them, it's like, if you can't make a decision what to eat tonight, you're going to have a hard time making a decision that's going to change your life. So if you want to build a muscle, what do? You work it. And the more decisions you make, the better you're going to be. So what stops people from doing it, again, is fear. So let me tell you the only wrong decision to make. The only wrong decision is to not decide. Because then you find yourself in a position where basically, fundamentally, you're letting the world control you instead of you take control of your world. And it's hard to get this across, but maybe I'll give you a couple quick examples. I remember I had the chance to work with General Schwarzkopf. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember him, but in the first war that they had in the Middle East there, not the first war in the Middle East, but the first war they had with Iraq, they went over and they sent General Schwarzkopf. And he was this incredibly intense general. And he went out there, won the war, and got us back out in like no time. He understood his objectives. He got the job done, got out. It's so rare to see in the history of warfare. But the reason I mention his name is because he was so good at inspiring people. Because he could connect to the guy that grew up in the streets, and he could connect with a guy that, graduated from Harvard. He was just that kind of guy and a good human being. But part of what made him so powerful was his ability to make decisions when nobody else did. He made them quickly, rapidly, and because when you make it rapidly, you get more progress faster. And I asked him, how did you develop this habit of decision-making like this? And you seem so confident. He goes, Tony, that's not how it is. He goes, I'll tell you what happened. Years ago, when I was just a private, I had the privilege of working for a general. And I grew up within his staff to a higher level in his staff. And I was the one that had to read all the briefings along with a group of people so I could give him a tighter briefing so he could go into a meeting and understand what's going on and make decisions. He said the purpose of meetings, by the way, is to make decisions, not just to go hear stuff. Otherwise, nothing changes. You should have more meetings. Who's done that in your business? It can drive you crazy, right? So bottom line is, he said, I remember this time where there was a decision that was being made at the Pentagon that they had struggled with for like 12 years. And no one had made the decision because arguments on both sides were so good. So nothing moved forward. And finally, a decision had to be made, and they brought it to the general, and they sent 3 months worth of material for him to absorb before making the decision. literally documents after documents after documents. And he said, so all of us as a team went through all those documents. We're trying to create the outline of them, make sure we captured all the arguments for him. And he said, and then the general came to me 2 days before and said, I have to fly overseas for 24 hours. He had to deal with something. Be ready for that meeting. And then he flew back, and I thought, how is he going to do this? He's not going to have enough time to prepare. And then the flight back was delayed. And so he got in like at 1:30 in the morning, and we had an 8:30 in the morning meeting with all the people on both sides to make the most important decision probably the Pentagon has made in more than a decade, and he is not prepared. And he said, I was so freaked out. I gave him as much as I could, but I was like, he called the meeting. This general did. He said, Schwarzkopf, I was watching the people on both sides. He said, here's what you got. You got 20 minutes, you got 20 minutes. 15 to 20, you pick. I want your best argument for what you believe we need to do, and then we're going to make a decision. One side went for 20 minutes, full tilt, gave him everything. He took notes. Other side took notes. Then he stood up and he said, do that one. And everyone saluted and walked out of the room and implemented it. And Schwarzkopf told me he was so freaked out. He goes, there's no way he can make that decision. He doesn't have enough information to know all this. My God. And so he said, finally, I got enough courage that I knocked on his door and said, sir, permission to speak freely. He said, permission granted. He goes, sir, I'm the one who does your prep. There's no way you could have been fully prepared. You can't make a decision that important without all the information. And I couldn't even absorb all the information. This information has been accumulated for a decade. He goes, and I said, how could you make that decision? It's so important without all the information. He said, young man, a decision needs to be made. I'm a leader. That's what we do. We make decisions. And this decision has not been made for 12 years. There has been zero progress because both sides can equally argue for their point of view. Something needs to be done. No one had the courage to make a decision, so I did. I did the best one I found that I could find from the information they shared with me, which was the core information. And he said, and guess what? If it isn't correct, we'll make a new decision and go a new direction. But we're not going to sit on the fence any longer. Sitting on the fence means no progress. Failing to decide is the wrong decision. It's not a wrong decision to pick a direction and see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll change. If it does, we'll get it stronger. And Schwarzkopf said, I never forgot that. And the rest of my life changed. Because before I was always trying to make the perfect decision. And he said, there is no perfect decision. I need to decide, commit, and follow through. And it changed his entire life and made him an incredible general. I remember when I was writing Money Master the Game and interviewing 50 of the most successful financial investors in the history of the world, the Ray Dalias, the Carl Icahns, the Warren Buffetts, the Paul Tudor Joneses. And I was interviewing them, and several of them said to me, Tony, sometimes the worst investors are the smartest people. And I said, how can you say that? And they said, because people think they're really smart, want to know everything about something before they decide. If you know everything about it, by the time you know everything about it, so does everybody else, and the opportunity is gone. You need to decide now. Don't wait another moment. That's the lesson. And I got to tell you, I don't care. Jeff Bezos is another great example. Jeff Bezos is one of the most successful business people of all time, obviously, building Amazon. He talks about decision as saying there's two levels of decision, level one, level two. Level one is a decision that's really low impact and low risks. So just make it. You don't even think, just make it, and then you'll see if it works or not, very much like Schwarzkopf. He said level two is a deeper decision. It has a lot more risk to it, it has a lot more impact, and it's harder to change. He said make those two, right? He said take a little bit more time to do it, but make it. He said the way we succeed is by action. The way we fail is by fear, and fear keeps us from deciding. Decision is how you learn. That's what we forget. In fact, if you want to know, most of us, imagine your brain as a prosecutor and a defender, and the fear is the prosecutor. Most of us make the prosecutor in charge, telling all the horrible things that may happen if I decide on this, and so we don't do anything. We don't let the defense stand up and do a great job and go, BS, sit down, shut up. Here's why we need to take action. That kind of shift shifts everything in a person's life. I can't get across to you enough. If you could just get yourself to make more decisions more rapidly, you will see everything in your life change for the better. And it doesn't take much. And the reason you don't have to know everything, you just need to know the core things to decide. And if you get away from just thinking, I'm not going to have any uncomfortableness, remember Mark was talking about in that video, in the interview I just did with him, Mark Benioff, it's like, if you're not a little uncomfortable, you're not alive, right? But you can get really comfortable when you got a coach or a friend that knows you and starts to know more about you all the time, and gradually not only knows about you and can help you, but can go to work for you when you're sleeping. That's the world we're in right now. So, and by the way, one more example of General Schwarzkopf just popped in my head. It was a great example too. He said, I said, did you learn anything else from that general when you were private that shaped you? He goes, yes. He goes, there was a time when the general suddenly called me. He said, meet me in my office. We gathered all these things, and he said, I have to leave for 2 weeks overseas. And he said, we had no preparation. It was an emergency he had to take on. And he left me in charge to run the general's office. And he goes, and I'm fairly green. And I said, but sir, I'm like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? And he looked at me and he said, Rule 13. He said, okay, rule 13, sir. And they start leaving out the door, and Schwarzkopf realized he didn't know what Rule 13 was. And he goes, General, he goes, what's Rule 13? He goes, when put in command, take charge, decide, and act. Okay, Rule 13. He goes, but General, he goes, how do I know? How do I know what to do? I don't know. How do I know the right decision? And he said, Rule 14. He started walking away. He goes, General, what's Rule 14? He goes, Rule 14 is when put in charge, do what's right. And the way you do that is trust your gut. That's what makes you a leader. And I think those lessons are so simple, but they're missed by most people. How many people do you know that have lots of knowledge about what to do? They know they should change their life. They know how they change their life, and they don't do anything. Knowledge is not power. Execution is power. Knowledge, execution trumps knowledge every day of the week, and all execution is make a decision, plant your feet, and go. But what stops people still is that constant focus on trying to be perfect. There is no perfect. Perfect is the language of a fool, right? Because there is no perfect. We know there's nothing perfect. I'll give you an example that really helped me. Years ago, I had the privilege of learning from a guy named Bob Bondurant. He was a really famous race car driver. He's now passed away. And he had his own racing school. And it still exists, Bob Bondurant Racing Schools. And I said, I love driving. I want to really learn to race a car effectively. And since I had a relationship with him, I said, do you think you could personally give me some coaching and training? I mean, you're the best in the world. He goes, Tony, I'd be happy to. So he said, come up and meet me at Laguna Seca. This is up in Northern California. It's an amazing racetrack. And he said, and I will show you in a couple of days what you can do in a car, and it's going to blow your mind. So I get in the car with him, and he goes, the first thing we're going to do is you're going to sit over here on the passenger seat, and I'm going to take you on a ride and show you what the car is capable of doing. And if you're not familiar with racetracks, Laguna Seca is unique in that it has this one area where it looks like you're going straight at a wall at high speed, 125 miles an hour, and you go around the wall like this. It is scary as anything can be. He takes me around that track 3 times, and then that thing he says to me, Tony, I know this seems crazy, but in 4 days, you're going to be able to do this. And I looked at him and said, Bob, I don't know if I want to. As I said, I thought I want to race, but my God, this is insane. You're like going at that wall. He goes, I know it's scary. He goes, here's what we're going to do, though. We're not going to have you start out going 125 miles an hour at a wall and flipping around it. He said, we're going to start by putting you in a spin car. I said, what's a spin car? He said, a spin car is a car where you're going to drive, I'm going to be in the passenger seat, and down at the seat, it's wired so that I can push one of 4 buttons. And when I push one of those buttons, it's going to lift one of the 4 wheels I select. Well, when we lift that wheel, we're going to start spinning out of control in that direction. Now, when you start spinning out of control, the first thing your mind's going to do is you're going to look at the wall because you're not going to want to hit the wall. But he said, this is the most important thing. If you want to succeed, you're going to have to train yourself not to focus on what you're afraid of, but focus on what you want. In other words, don't focus on the wall. You'll unconsciously drive into it. Focus where you want to go. You'll unconsciously make the turn. And it'll work. And I thought, no problem. I teach this. This is something I know, right? So I get in the car and I'm driving. I'm ready. I'm thinking, push that button. Go ahead, push that button, right? And we're going faster. Push that button, push that button. And when you see race car drivers, some people go, they're not athletes. If you get in there, the level of concentration when you're going that fast, you get up to 145 miles an hour. And guess what? All of a sudden, does he push the button when you're ready? No. Does life push the button on you when you're ready? No. Right? Never. Right? He pushes the button and what happens? We start spinning out of control in this direction. So what do? I instantly stare at the wall, right? Stare straight at it. Now, he knows what that does. It's going to drive me into it. So he grabs my face and pushes it where we need to turn. Now, I'm fighting him because I want to see the death happen, right? And so he gets my face like this. So what happens is I turn, and then eventually you keep going, then the wheels catch, and we miss the wall. And my heart's beating out of my chest. And he goes, did you learn? I said, I learned. I didn't learn anything, right? Because you need repetition to get it in your body. So the next time we go, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. And by the way, isn't this a perfect metaphor for life? See, he told me, you can be the best driver in the world, but things happen. The driver in front of you, his car can break down. Something can go, you can hit an oil slick and you go out of control. It doesn't matter how good you are. Life is going to test you at times. It's going to put you in a spin. The secret to being a great driver, having a great life, being the one driving your life instead of reacting to your life, is learning how to come out of a spin. We're all going to have spins. Haven't you had spins in your life? In a relationship, or in your finances, or in your career, or your business, or your body? So it was a great metaphor, and so he trains me on this thing, right? And it's like, now, sure enough, he pushes the button again. Right, he must have noticed just a little drop in concentration, and we spin out of control, and immediately I'm pointing straight there, staring at it again. Grabs my head, shoves it, and sure enough, we turn, and it feels like you're going to hit, but the last seconds it catches. And after you do this again and again and again, pretty soon, you do the opposite of the guy that's driving his Porsche down. Have you ever heard the story of a person's driving their Porsche or sports car down a country road? There's only one telephone pole every quarter of a mile. They lose control and hit the pole. Because they lose control, they go, oh, I don't want to hit that. And they steer right into it. Now you learn, okay, boom, look here, boom, here, look, boom. Now it requires faith. Because part of you wants to see what's happening. But if you do that, you turn back unconsciously. So now I'm focused where I want to go. So now I'm getting good at it. So now I'm learning, and now I'm trusting. And by the way, there's one problem. When you turn and start doing things right, you were doing things wrong before, you turn doing things right. Do you get instant rewards? No, because there's what's called lag time. You turn and you still have momentum going that direction. But if you keep the turn, the last seconds, the wheels catch. And it feels like you're 12 inches from it, but you're about 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet from it, and you're fine. That's the piece that matters. So here's the question. Am I saying to you, if you look where you want to go, are you guaranteed to succeed? In other words, if you focus on what you want instead of what you don't want, are you guaranteed to succeed? Yes or no? Yes or no? No. But if you focus on the wall, are you guaranteed to hit the wall? And the answer is yes. So all we're doing is increasing our chances. And if you're going to be effective and you're going to have an extraordinary quality of life, you've got to train yourself to focus on what you want. Everybody else is focused on what they're afraid of. And when it comes to AI, this is the place where most people are afraid. They're afraid because they don't know how to use it. Like we've said multiple times, so you're not going to get replaced by an AI. You get replaced by someone who has to use an AI. And it's not learning a million individual patterns. It's just learning how to have the core pattern that can augment you, something that can get you to get better results in your life and in your business and free up your time and make it for what matters in your life, and maybe go to work after you develop into an agent in our 5th or 6th session, where now the agent works for you. I've got agents, I got multiple agents that work for me. It's amazing. But that sounds so far out there. You take the first step and you get your digital twin in the first session and you got someone you can bounce off of, like Mark was talking about, that I use, we all use. It's a different game. So I'll give you one more final principle on decision that's so, so important. My daughter Jolie, I remember when she was growing up, she had this dream. And her dream was to be, a dancer on Broadway. And so she grows up and, I love the heck out of this kid. And she goes to college. We lived in Los Angeles. And so sure enough, she's going to this Pasadena College. And at one point, she comes home for Christmas. We were living in San Diego at the time. And during the Christmas holiday there, I said to her, I pulled her aside, and I said, Joe, I just got to ask you. I said, how you doing on your dream? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, you know what your dream is. She goes, well, Dad, you've always wanted to be a dancer on Broadway. She goes, yeah, and I'm getting straight A's in school. She's doing phenomenal. And she said, and I'm winning the dance competitions I'm involved with. I'm winning them all the time. I said, honey, that's what I'm concerned about. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I think that you're competing against people you're better than if you're winning every time, and that doesn't make you better. And I said, but even more importantly than that, I said, I think when you see me in my life, you think I'm incredibly brilliant. I'm a genius, and of course I am. I'm your father. I said, but what my real genius is, when there's opportunity there, I grab it and I act on it. And not every opportunity has led to something magical. But because I always grab it, I don't miss the opportunities most people do. And that's where people go, wow, you're so lucky. It's because I grabbed every opportunity. A bunch of them didn't work, but I made myself take the action. She goes, well, what are you saying? I said, what I'm saying is, how is going to college getting you closer to your goal? She goes, well, I said, it's not. I said, but she said, you said to go to college. I said, I was wrong. Not about college, just the timing. Because the one thing I have that most people are missing is urgency. Like most people hear about something, oh, that's good, that's important, take it in, that's cool, I remember some of that, I use some of that. My whole thing is, no. If that's in front of me right now, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, it's put me there for a reason, and I need to find a way to grab it and act on it. It's the urgency, the feeling of now is the time that gets me to make those decisions most people don't make. And I said, honey, right now you're doing great in school, and I'm proud of you, but you're not getting closer by competing with people you're better than. She goes, well, what are you suggesting? I said, I suggest you leave school and you move to New York City, because you're not going to be a dancer on Broadway not being in New York, and compete with the best dancers in the world and find out who you are. Take lessons, do all the things you need to do. But I said, hear me out. I think you can make it, but I'm your father and I'm biased. And what I want you to do is, I don't want you to ever have regret. My teacher Jim Rohn used to always say, discipline weighs ounces and regret weighs tons. I don't want you ever regret you didn't take advantage of this. And there's a timeline on a dancer. You can't go there when you're 30 and start dancing. You need to move. She's saying, well, when do you think I'd do that? I said, when would now be a good time? She said, now? Like in the middle of Christmas vacation? I said, yes. She goes, well, I leave in the middle of school. I said, you can go back to school. I said, get yourself in the environment. What do you think? She goes, wow, that's a big decision. I said, honey, big results come from making big decisions. That's what I've done my whole life when no one else did. I had the same knowledge I did, but I acted because I just decided. I didn't know I could. I just decided to find the way. She goes, well, maybe I should talk to somebody else in the industry about this. And I said, sure, you should ask someone else about this. People pay me $1 million to help them make a decision and coach them, but you should go see someone else. Right? And I said, actually, and I teased her, I said, actually, I think that's smart. Who are you thinking of? And she said, well, Jay Maloney, who's a friend of ours. He worked at CAA, which is a big agency in Hollywood. I said, that's great. Call Jay. He's a friend of the family. Talk to him. Ask him what he thinks. She goes, okay, I will. I said, when would now be a good time? She goes, right now. I said, when's there a better time than right now? That's what I got to train you. I got to train you the urgency to act now, not someday, not in the future, not when the opportunities passed you by. She goes, okay, I'll call him. So she leaves the room. True story. I quickly dial it. And I get on the phone. And I go, Jay, I said, quick question. I said, Jolie's going to call you. I want you to tell her the truth. But tell me the truth. Here's what I told her, right? You're not going to competing with people in LA. You're better. It's not going to happen. You got to be in New York. That's where the best dancers are. Got to compete with the best. Learn from the best. What do you think? He goes, that's absolutely true. That's all you know. Just tell her the truth. She's calling you now. I hung up the phone. She comes back in. She goes, his line's busy. I said, call him again. Don't give up so damn easy. Are you going to make it by making one phone call? So she calls him again. She's gone for almost 45 minutes, maybe almost an hour. Comes back in, kind of like walking around like starry-eyed, like, wow. She goes, I just talked to Jay, and he was so great. We talked for a long time, and, he said, this is what I got to do. I'm not going to be the best dancer in L.A., and I'm never going to be on Broadway working in L.A. And I go to college later. I said, Father knows best, right? I teased her, and she laughed. And so I took my daughter, who grew up not like me, poor and terrible environment. She grew up on the ocean in San Diego, Del Mar, California, perfect weather. And I took her to New York, and I told her in advance, I said, look, I'm going to pay for your apartment for the first 4 months, but then you're going to get a job, and you're going to pay your apartment. You're not going to be living off of us. And I said, you got to be a working actress, but I will pay for your lessons to get better. And you work with some of the best coaches. And let's see what you can do. And so I moved her there it was like the worst winter they'd had in like 7 years. And we got her this apartment, and she toughened up. And so I talked to her by phone, and it was interesting the different things she's doing. But I could tell after a few months she got more and more confident, more excited. And then I was flying into town, and I let her know I was coming to town. I get to the airport, and there's a car there. And wow, this is interesting. And I'm here to take you to see your daughter. Awesome. So we're driving the car, and we go past the off-ramp, or the turn rather, on the streets where we would have gone to her apartment, and he keeps going. I said, well, isn't that the turn? He goes, no, she's meeting you somewhere else. And he takes me down to the theater district, and we pull up to this theater, and it's Tommy, the play Tommy that Elton John put together, and on the top it says starring, and it has my daughter's name. How's that for an amazing place? Now, I'd love to take full credit for that, but I have no skills to be on Broadway. But what I was able to do was to get her to make a decision. It's the only thing that changes your life, my friends. And sometimes the hardest decisions you're being called to make, but you think, I'm not ready. If I waited till I was ready, I wouldn't be here with you right now. I wouldn't have done 99% of what I did. I just decided to do it anyway. I decided that by making decisions and taking actions, I was going to learn. Think of it this way. Success in life is the result of good judgment. Would you agree with that? Like making the right decisions, having the right judgment makes you successful in finance and business and learning and growing and developing a future, taking care of your body, anything. So if success is a result of good judgment is the result of experience. And experience is often the result of bad judgment, right? Think about it. The only way you get good judgment is you made some bad judgments, and the only way to do that is make more decisions. And if you could do that out of these 3 days, then everything else will have power. Otherwise, it'll come knowledge, and you may do a thing or two, but it won't change your life. We're here to help you change your life. Take your business or your personal life to a whole new level. Free yourself up. But to do it, here's the principle that I taught with Jolie. It's the most important principle I know. I taught it to all my kids. I teach anybody I care about, including anybody I meet, including you. And that is, never leave the sight. This is my core principle in life. Never leave the sight of something important where you know you should make a decision, or a site where you set a goal, or a site where you've decided you want something. Never leave the sight of making a decision without doing something in that moment while you're in state to commit yourself to follow through. Because otherwise, what happens is you miss out completely. Like, the problem is, it's like you get it. Have you ever done this? Have you ever said, oh, I'm going to do this? You get yourself in state, you're all excited about something, and then all of a sudden, what happens? You go, I'm excited, I'm going to do this, and make this happen, and then you get caught up in your Slacks or your emails or your social media or a bunch of phone calls or meetings or whatever it is, and you miss out. Who's ever made a commitment to yourself you were going to do something, you meant it, and didn't follow through? Make some noise if you can relate there, right? So the principle you want to get in your body is, no. The minute I get excited, the minute some part of me knows I should do this, then I must. Then I got to do something right now. So I'm going to enroll in the class. I'm going to call the person right now. I'm going to schedule the meeting for Thursday so I follow through on Thursday. Not now when I'm thinking about it, but it's already locked in place. I'm going to go meet that person right now. I'm going to do something right now that commits me to follow through in the future. Because otherwise you get out of state, and your intention, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You heard that phrase a million times. It's true. Now I want to give you one last piece. And that is, I think some people make a decision, but they don't follow through. Who's ever done it? Who's ever made a decision, actually decided, and then you didn't follow through? Make some noise if you're out there. Let me hear from you out there. And I think it's important to know why they didn't follow through, because a real decision you do follow through. That's the definition of a real decision. You've cut off anything else, you commit and you act. So why aren't people doing it? They're afraid of failing and trying to be perfect, all things we talked about. But sometimes they fail because they don't realize decision-making has 3 parts. Let me walk you through them and test them in your own body right now, okay? I want you to think of the idea of deciding. Think of a time you worked hard to make a decision. You finally just decided. Can you think of something where you struggled maybe a little bit and then made the decision? Decision-making can feel like a little bit of a war inside till you finally do it, right? It's like, oh, but what about this? What about that? I don't know if I can do this. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, or I don't have the energy, or I don't know if I can do that. I'm not smart enough, or they're smarter than I am, or, I got all these other priorities. All the things in your head that happen. But if you can wrestle those down and you fight that war and you win that war, then you make a decision. And decision-making itself, like I said, it can feel like a certain amount of conflict, right? But when you decide, that's great. But what's the difference between deciding, and committing for you? Search your own body right now. Think of the difference between I decided versus I committed. Raise your hand if you feel a difference in your body. You'd feel different if you're committed. Okay, good. So what's the difference between deciding and committing? What's the difference between those two feelings? Well, decisions that fight that war, now you decide, but the problem is decision-making is in the moment. The only reason the decision gets followed through, though, is if you take it to the second step where you now commit to follow through on the decision. And that committing, think about it. I'd like you to think of right now, what's a decision that you actually followed through on? Maybe it was a tough decision, but you followed through. Can you think of one for a moment? Decision I was trying to make, and maybe I didn't follow through several times, and finally I decided, and this time, man, I absolutely did it. Can you feel that difference from when you decided to when you committed? And what was the difference? Maybe put it in the chat. What was the difference between deciding and committing? What was the difference in your body or what you did in your head when you said, no, I'm not just decided, I've committed to this? That's it, good. Put it up there for you. And notice that what people are writing. You get a feel for this? That's good. Right? Now I want you to notice the pattern. Yes, I took it forward. Good. Yeah, it was not just the moment. I took it into the future. Great answer. Good. Yes, there was a different emotional intensity. It wasn't just for the moment. It was like carrying it through. That's exactly right. Okay, so think of deciding as that war you finally decide, but if you don't then commit, where you take what you decide at this moment and you take it into the future, where you start seeing yourself following through, feeling yourself falling through. You've locked down something, you've locked down a date so you follow through. That's like, like even this little mini class we've done here for these 3 days for you. You wouldn't have been here if you just decided. Some of you actually committed. You must have put it on your calendar. You must have blocked some time, right? You didn't just show up because you made a decision. You actually made some kind of a commitment to be here each day, or you wouldn't be here. Well, there are other people that decided and didn't show up because they didn't do the commit stage. So feel the difference, though, when you commit, where now all of a sudden it's like, it's not just for the moment. It takes me into the future. It's like when there's a commitment, it's almost like there's consequences. I understand what this means, and I need that result. I want that result. I need that not just for the moment. I need that long term. When you decide and then you commit, that's a different level of momentum, isn't it? And by the way, for females out there, ladies out there, women out there listening, many times women will say men won't commit. And you know what's interesting? They don't realize men haven't decided yet. There's a sequence to decision making. If you try to commit before you even decide, it doesn't work. Women decide and commit almost immediately together when it comes to a relationship if they've decided it's the right one. They decide and commit. Men space that out longer. And so they think men won't commit. No, they've just got to decide before they commit. And then there is a third level. And when you get the third level, then you're going to start loving making decisions when you start doing this. But if you think decision is just, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to master AI. I'm going to go to that course. That's not it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And here's why. I'm committing. My whole life is going to change when I'm not alone anymore, 24/7, 365. I've got my personal coach that understands who I am and what I need and what I want and can make suggestions for me and give me ideas, and eventually one that can go to work for me when I'm sleeping and bring me answers in the morning, right? I'm committed to that. I don't just want it. Many people think they've decided when they say, I want something. No, deciding you want it is like, no, I'm going to make this happen, and committing is I'm going to carry it through. How many feel the difference? If you can feel the difference, make me a little noise so I can see you guys. Awesome. The third step is the most important step of all. It's called resolve. And resolving is a totally different feeling. Resolving is when it feels like it's done. I mean, what does it mean to resolve? It means it's done. It may not be done yet in the world, but it's done in you. How many of you have ever made a decision on something and then you committed, and then you eventually got this point where it's like, you know, some people, they decide, and then what happens is something changes. Like, so I made this decision, but that's before I knew this happened. That's someone who didn't commit. If you decide things change, doesn't matter. I'm committed. I'll find the way, or I'll make the way. Who knows what I'm talking about? Make some noise. You know what I'm talking about there, right? But when you're committed, there's this energy. But when you resolve something, it's just like, it's done. It's almost like, well, think about it yourself before I tell you. What does it feel like when you resolve something? You're not just decided, you're not just committed. I've resolved. I'm going to own this. I'm going to have this experience. I'm going to have that body. I'm going to have this relationship. I'm going to have those finances. I'm going to own this AI thing. It's not going to own me. I've resolved. How many of you feel when you get to resolve, it feels almost peaceful? Makes a noise. It feels almost peaceful for you. That's it, right? It's a level of certainty where it's like, now, this is just who I am. This is what it's about. It doesn't matter if things change. I committed, and more importantly, I've resolved. This is done. I'll find the way. I'll make the way. It's an incredible feeling inside. And the more you decide, commit, and resolve, when you do make real decisions, you do all three of these, the more you build that muscle, the stronger it gets. And now, what used to be hard is easy. It's like if you're doing lifts and you want to build your bicep, you do curls, right? And if you take a weight that's really easy and you do 100 curls, it's useful, because if you don't use it, you lose it. But if you take a weight that's really heavy, right, remember, and you barely can lift it, and you try to do 10 curls with that, and you get, you know, which of those 10 curls gives you most of the growth? You know, it's the 12th one, right? If you hire a trainer, what do you train them to do? That you get them to push you beyond what you're comfortable with. Oh, I can't do one more. And what does a good trainer do? Four more, right? I can't do 4 more. And you get 3 more in, and that third one gives you 90% of the growth. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about training yourself, because more important than AI is that you make decisions to use it, not be used by it. Listen, you can let things in life stress you. Stress can control you. Stress can use you, or you can use stress and convert it into a sense of peace because you've moved yourself forward. See, you don't have to be perfect. All you have to do is keep making progress, and you'll get there. And you'll get to places you never dreamed possible, only if you go through all three of these pieces. So if you want momentum, decide, commit, and resolve. How many of you feel that difference in resolve in your body? How many of you feel what it feels like out Oh, yes. So just for a moment to finish up, stand up. Wherever you are, stand up if you would. Stand up. Shake your body out again. Shake it out. Get some energy in that body. Wake it up. Come on. Move that body. All right. Stay standing. Shake your body out. Now stand tall. Like, try this for a second. Stand how you do when you're not sure. Like, I hope it works out. I hope I can do it. I know I need to. I know I should, right? What's your body like when you're kind of hoping? Where are your shoulders? Where's your head? Are you breathing more full or more shallow? Do you talk loud or quiet? And then just right now, just for a second, snap yourself in a place of certainty. Like, I'm going to find the way or make the way. Say the phrase, yes. Say yes. Say yes. Make a move and go, yes. 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 Make the sound of absolute certainty out loud. Whatever sound that means, make it out loud. Absolute certainty as loud as you can. Nice and loud. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Do it again. Make the sound as loud as you can. Absolute certainty. Strength. Go, go, go. That's it. That's it. Now, stay in this state. You'll notice your shoulders are back. Your head is up. Breathe fully. And let's make sure you make some decisions right now while you're in state. Close your eyes. Breathe deep. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Now, here's what I want you to do. While you're standing, the only thing that changes your life is decisions, so we don't just learn about it, let's do it. I want you to think of a small decision right now, any small decision that you know you should make. It could be about your body. It could be about what you eat. It could be something to do with how you spend your time, your relationship. It could be about learning. It could be about AI. It could be about anything. What's a decision you need to make that maybe you've been put off, not made, that if you made it today, a real decision, you decided, you committed, you resolved, you committed in that moment, scheduled something so it happens, you'd be thrilled with the result a year from now, even 6 months from now, even a month from now, even a week from now. Think of a decision right now that needs to be made in your life and in a state of certainty in your body. I want you to see that decision. I want you to feel yourself making that decision and taking action on it. Just know what it feels like. Ready? Raise your hand if you, let me see if you've got a decision you're ready to make. Good, good, good. Raise your hand if you've got a decision. Good, good. Then I want you to see yourself making that decision and say yes. Make that decision, yes. See that decision, yes. Make the decision, yes. That's it, that's it. That's it. Now think of a big decision you need to make. What's a big decision? One that would be a tough decision, but you know if you made it, it would take your life to the next level. It might take more time, more energy, more money, more effort, more focus. But you know if you made it, it would be incredible. What's a big decision? Maybe it's something you've been putting off. You know you need to make it. If you made it and you acted on that decision, you know it would change your life for the better. Maybe it's something you've been thinking about for a while. It's time to stop thinking, start deciding, just do it. You don't need to have all the answers. Maybe it's something you're committing to tonight. You're going to decide and commit that you're going to master something. AI, that's why you're here, or anything you want to master. What's something else? Decide right now, what's a second decision, a big decision that if you made it and you followed through, you'd be thrilled out of your mind. You'd be like, this was one of the best, this was so important for my life. Raise your hand if you can think of a big decision that you've been putting off or haven't thought of, but you need to now. Make some noise if you know what that decision is. Make your move and say yes. Say yes. Say yes. See yourself making a decision right now. Decide you're going to do it. That's it. Commit that you're going to do it. See the impact of doing it. 6 months from now, a year from now, how is your life different? Feel it. See it. See the result. See the first decision and commit to it. You didn't just decide. See yourself committing, following through, doing what's necessary. Now, what are 2 actions you could take right away to make those decisions real? Think of the little decision. What's something you do right now, as soon as we finish here, to commit yourself to follow through while you're in state? Is there someone you can call? Is there something you need to schedule? Is there a class you need to enroll in? Is there a person you need to meet with that you can do immediately so that when you're out of state, you still follow through and you keep your word with yourself? You commit, and so you can have the resolution you deserve. Think of 1 or 2 actions you could take, a little one and a big one. Maybe you want to stop eating the way you've been eating, but you go home and all the crap is there. So you go home and you decide to take all that stuff, flush it down the toilet while you play the music of We Are the Champions of the World. I don't know. Something. What? Commit an act. What's a big decision? And what's some action you could take on that big decision? What could you do today to commit yourself to follow through so you can get the ultimate result that you want? Who could you call? What could you schedule? What could you do? What could you enroll in? Who could you speak to? What could you do right now What's a decision you could do, action you could take right now? What's commit you for the future? What's a big action you could take? You don't like your car, your kid hates your car. Your kid doesn't want to be seen in your car. So one day, you blow it up so no one drives this car again, right? What's something crazy you could do that's fun, that commits you to follow through? Or what's something simple? Now, I want you to think of those 2 decisions. Raise your hand if you can think of 2 decisions, a small and a big one, that you know would change your life, and a couple actions you're going to take right away. Good. Then here's what I want you to do. Close your eyes and give yourself what we call a dopamine hit. What that means is think about the feeling in your body, how it feels to decide, and then commit, and then resolve that this is going to be the way your life is, that you're not going to settle for anything less. Breathe it in and feel it. And feel that energy in your body. Like, this feels so good to take the bull by the horns, not to be passive, not to sit on my butt, to go get what I need. Go get the skills, go get the talents, make the changes I need to make right now. And while you're doing that, what I want you to do is imagine all the good feelings that are going to come in your life because of what you did. What it'll make you feel like physically, mentally, emotionally, what it'll do for your finances, your relationship, your time, whatever it is you're deciding. Feel the rewards of all that coming to you rapidly, as if they're floating into your heart from outside. Great moments, great relationships, great energy, great success. Think of 3 or 4 things you'll be grateful for because you made these decisions. And then in a moment, I want you to take that and pour it into sound as loud as you can, like a celebration, like a little kid. Like if you'd already achieved these decisions, if you'd already achieved the goals these decisions would lead you to, how would you feel? All right? Just going to take it up to a peak state. 1, on 3, 1. You're going to make as much sound as you can. Use your energy. 1, 2, 2, 3. Make that energy and celebrate that energy in your body. Come on. That's it. That's it. Come on. Wake it up. 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 That's it. That's it. That's it. How many made some decisions you decided, you committed, you resolved? Say I. Say I. Say I. That's awesome. How does that feel? Make the decisions. From now on, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let it lead to action by making decisions. Commit. I hope we'll have a chance to serve you, not just these couple of days of talking. Let us be your partner. Let us show you in just 6 weeks, little bit, 1 day a week, few hours, show you how to get an unpaid employee working for you, a coach, a friend. If not, I've been happy to serve you. I hope you'll make some decisions that serve your life. God bless you all. Back to Dean, everybody. Give it up for him.
There you go. So good. Only Tony Robbins could get you dancing and screaming in your living room. Do you agree? And isn't it okay to celebrate? Tony says so many times, you'll see somebody celebrate for a team and go crazy, but we forget to celebrate ourselves. We get to celebrate breaking through, deciding on being a better version of ourselves. And I love watching so many of you come alive. Those on YouTube, I hope you did the same. Listen, one more time in the chat, can we give it up for Tony Robbins before we go any further? And one thing that, again, he's been my partner for so long, and I watch and I listen and I still take notes, because one decision truly can change everything. And it can happen in a moment. That's what this entire weekend has been building toward, not just learning about AI, not just watching demos, but arriving at a decision about who you're going to become in this new era. And Tony gave us the framework. Decide, commit, celebrate. And now it's on you. What an incredible 3 days this has been. I have to say, watching you truly play full out, this has been the most fun event of my life. And I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for these beautiful comments. Thank you for playing full out. Thanks for trusting us with this time. Thank you for allowing us to take you on the journey that we believe is the best journey to build the confidence to say yes. Think about the ground we covered. On day one, we realized time is everything. And there's 3 levels to AI. It all begins with a foundation. It could be as simple as the context sandwich or vivid visuals that are uniquely you. And AI can do the heavy lifting for you. And day 2, we saw it in action. Real people, real clones, real agents doing real work that got real results. And many of you made the decision to join us. We love it. We can't wait to start with you on Friday. To go from overwhelm and confusion to learning the AI Advantage method. And then day 3, today, we went deeper, simplified operations. Wasn't Rachel freaking awesome? And who liked Alfredo, right? Showing you that AI is truly the great equalizer when we watch those quick clips and interviews with Ray and Mark Benioff. And then Tony just showed us the one thing standing between, well, where we are and where we want to be. A decision. Listen, you've been a part of something historic. The second AI Advantage Summit, and officially the largest AI event in history, hands down. And how cool is it? We are at 5.2 million hours going to be saved next year collectively with this group. I guess we got a new goal of 6 million. Yes, every speaker was amazing. I'm grateful for all of them. And for those of you who are with us in November, thanks for being here with us. You know this is real. You lived it. It was great seeing your familiar faces. For those of you that are new, I hope you can feel the energy of this community. And I also hope you can see how this is proven and it works. And I always say this, but if you have questions, we try to do our best to answer all of them, but I promise they'll all get answered at the event. And remember, this doesn't have to be the end of a 3-day event. This can be the beginning of a 6-week transformation together. A version of you with more time, more leverage, more creativity, a version of you that starts that business finally, or scales what you currently have, or you future-proof your career and you do it safety with being protected the way we set this up. A version of you that steps into who you're capable of becoming. The truth is, you don't have to figure it out on your own anymore. That's what Tony, Igor, and myself have already done for you. And at the end of your life, I don't think you're going to say, I wish I took 2 years to figure this out on my own. You're going to say, I'm glad I acted. I'm glad I bought my time back for the things that really matter. That's what I guess paying for speed looks like. Not 2 years of trial and error. We've seen the other side, and we hope you give us the opportunity to show you what it's like. And every single time and every single person that joined tell us the same thing. I wish I would have done it sooner. So let that be your story. Join us. You know, this is an event-only offer, and we do start on Friday. And if there's one thing these 3 days have proven, waiting never wins. Like Tony said, decide now. Join us, and let's do the next 6 weeks together. And the last thing I'll say, don't let one question, I already said that, I want to say it again, don't let one question stop you. That's why we created such a risk-free guarantee. You've seen the proof, you felt it in your gut, you only got one decision left. Join thebootcamp.com, get enrolled, and we can't wait to see you inside the training next week. Thank you again for an incredible event. Whether you're with us in November or you're joining us for the first time, thank you for trusting us with this time, with your attention, and with your future. On behalf of Tony, Igor, and myself, we don't take it lightly, and we're beyond grateful for you. We hope we get to see you at the welcome celebration on Friday. Go live into the best version of yourself. Take what you learned and squeeze every bit of juice that life has to offer. Before we go, though, I want to say one thing. Can we give thanks to the team behind the scenes, the ones doing all the work? In fact, let's bring them out. Let's bring some people out. Can you guys come out? Hey, my family's here. Hey, my kids, come on out, guys. Oh, let me have this little stink. How you doing, handsome? Hey, these are the ones that make it work behind the scenes. Can we give it up for everybody? Hey, Luca. Wave, everybody! Thank you from our heart to yours. Thank you for being a part of this event. Thanks for having faith in us. Can't wait to meet so many more of you. Go live into your full potential. We'll see so many of you on Friday. Take care, everybody.